Oh, wrong button, fuck! G'day, citizens. Welcome to the Inforunners. Sorry, this is why I don't do things live like that. Anyway, I'm Execute. We're joined today by Algared, and Casa Black is our special guest. How's everyone doing this morning?
I'm alive.
You'll live.
Well, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Algared's feeling a lot better since yesterday. If you saw yesterday's video, he was in a lot of pain.
I did. I saw it.
He was breathing. Yeah.
I was breathing. Oh man.
Yeah.
The worst
That
kind
whole
of pain.
episode, it was
Yeah.
stab, flutter, stab, flutter. Oh.
I heard all the
I
ordeal. The
felt
nurse had to
horrible.
hold him down, gaffer tape him to the table. Had to pull out
Yeah,
55 teeth. He's only got 2. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
And he definitely wasn't very talkative either.
Oh, it was the best
look,
part
part
about
of
the
it
whole
was
thing.
just because that episode was a good one. Like for us, we were going, yep.
There was not a lot to react to because it really was just appreciating someone's work. That's what it was. So yeah,
Definitely.
all right. I'm gonna do some background stuff while you two have a gas bag. I'll let you guys do that while I get some stuff organized real quick.
Oh, you're doing that. I'll talk to the YouTube chat because some of them have asked me, how am I today, Algared? Tooth pain dealt with? I'm halfway through a root canal. So yesterday morning they were neutralising the nerves in the tooth. And I tell you, went to school afterwards, and numbness in the jaw. That was cool. A couple of hours later, man, you feel it. This morning, it's not too bad.
Did they give you the stuff that makes half your face go?
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
and you go no, and you feel
Yep.
special needs like for like about 3
yeah.
hours. Yeah. And you keep biting your freaking tongue, and your half your tongue goes numb too. Like it's really strange. It's strange that's the way the nerves work in our face. Like half of them control one side, and half control the other, and it's not like the tongue's independent or anything. It's really weird. You start to realize like how analog our bodies are. It's
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, well, it's on. So another crown for my head. I think that's the plan down the track, but that won't happen until after CitizenCon.
Hey, boys on
So
Twitch too. I can see you there now. Yeah.
So I'll deal with that.
Bot is up and running.
that's it.
We're good to go. All right, all the housekeeping is done. I've been doing a lot of CitizenCon prep this week. I got permission to leave Algared, so I'm good to go for the UK now.
Okay, good.
Oh, first time chatter. It's you, Casa. Right, cool. Yeah, so I'm good to go for that. The last stuff just all comes down to technical hurdles now, which I know I can do. It's just the time to do them. Just all the last thing is the internet is the big thing that we're trying to get organized there. Because all the testing that you saw that we've done here, it's just not cutting it. So we've got a backup plan. Whether it pans out, we'll have to see. So we could have done all this for naught, but I doubt it. But we'll find some way of getting it to work. Put it that way. But it'll depend on the quality. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to your guys' coverage so I can, because I won't be going. So I'm definitely looking forward to see what you guys do.
Well, that was half the reason why we wanted to do it. It's like, well, if we're going to go, we're going to take other people with us because we know how shit it is to not be there.
Yep.
And we've it's something we've wanted to do for a long time. But
yeah. So, and it's not cheap though. Like like everyone seems to think you make money over fists when you're a YouTuber. No, again we might be pretty consistent, but we don't like make a lot of. We don't really push the monetization here. We have this year because we needed it. And that's even compromised what me and Algared normally like. We don't like to ask for money. It's not how we are. We're not wired that way. So yeah.
But I think the classic example, like we're doing we had the GoFundMe to help with CitizenCon. But in terms of getting the kit just to be able to hopefully do our stream, it's probably put us back both as $3,500 combined.
Yeah.
Combined. I'd say about that. Yeah, combined. But also we didn't even hit a single stretch goal on kick on the thing. So yeah, we both had to delve into our own finances to get us there as well.
But if you look at what we'd make, probably a year on our streaming, it's probably only. It's not even $3,500.
No.
It's getting close, but that'd be a 4 years.
It'd be close to that, yeah.
So
yeah, it depends. Well, put it this way: we make more than half our money on the Citizen Con day.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Citizen Con's where we make annual income.
Yeah, it's crazy because you're doing 2 8-hour days, and you have like I think we had like almost 1,000 people watching us last time. So that's why you make so much money, because you are doing it for such a length of period of time, and the massive amount of people. I can tell you now, there's a reason why certain creators don't go to Citizen Con, because they make more money. And I can tell you right now, if you start to pay attention to the people that don't go to CitizenCon, right now we can't go because of distance, but if they're in America, as an example, and the CitizenCon is in America, you know that they're really in this for money. They're not in it for the actual game. So that's a good way to tell.
That seems a fair.
Yeah. Especially if you're only like, well, I don't know, what's one side of America to the other, like 6 hours maybe? I don't know. Cassie, you're from there. You tell me, how long will it take for a plane from one side to the other?
It's about 3 to 4 hours maybe.
Even less.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on the east side, East Coast. So yeah, if I was to go there last year, it'd have been like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah. Okay. So it's.
It's about the same distance to Western Australia.
Well, you tell me. Do you think that that's a big ask to ask a content creator to fly across, or do you think that's? I don't know.
No, I don't think it's a big ask. I was kind of surprised last year because there was a couple that I did notice that I know they're from the East Coast and they didn't go, and I was kind of shocked by that. I didn't know if they just couldn't afford to go or what.
Yeah. So but I know some reasons why people. It's money. It always comes down to money. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it does always come down to money. Sometimes I can't afford to go.
Well, that's money, is it not?
That's right.
Yeah.
But those that can and don't go, that's why they don't, because they're here for the money. They're not here for the game. And unfortunately, you get those types. In all phrases, you get. I don't want to call them bad actors, but
Yeah.
The money, when you put the money above the game, like the whole reason, like if we were going to go, think about it from our point of view, why would we go to so much effort to stream it for you guys when we're only going for 2 days? Why would we spend that amount of money when we could just go and not that shows you we're in this to take you guys with us. We're not doing this for money. We're spending money so you can go with us, so to speak.
The amount of prep you're going through is just insane. I've been following along, and it's just crazy, and especially all the money you're spending. It's just nuts.
Just the gear alone, as Algared said, is pretty much twice what we would make anyway. So it just doesn't math out. No matter how you math it, it just doesn't work out. But the other advantage is now we have the gear. We more than likely won't have to buy it again. So if we ever do go to another Citizen Con, then it'll be cheaper. But the other thing we've learned is we probably will never go to Manchester ever again, because it's cost twice as much as what it should.
Wow.
Well, it's good for Algared though, because Algared's from England originally, and he's never been back. Right, so he's taking the opportunity to go see family and stuff like that, which
that's nice.
Like when at the start of the year, when we were saying we're not sure if we're both going to go, I just wanted to make sure that he got there, because if he got there, then he's never been back. I don't know what I'm missing because I've never been there. So
I don't know what I'm missing because I was only 2 when I left.
But you've got family to go see, right? I've got no one, so to speak. Well, I'm going to see John, but that's just so the people I'm going to visit are people I just met online. Like people I met through the game and stuff like that. So it's a bit different for me again. Cool. Yeah.
As to pick up the theme for today, talking about my big cheesy grin. Corel said, Paul's going for the same issue. I understand that teachers tend to grind their teeth a lot, which is usually a sign of stress. I wonder why,
And ironically, I had root canal when my tooth problem about 2 years ago. So it's interesting. Like
it's not fun.
It's sadly like it's an age problem. Like we're all getting to that older bracket, and it's starting to fall apart.
And
that's how it goes.
Yes, Luna Maria, we have started. We did start almost on time. That late, just a little.
I need a cup of tea. It always takes a little time to get people set up too when they haven't been here before too. So he didn't take that long.
It was my fault.
Well, me and Algared can just jump on, and we're kind of used to it. So I allowed an extra 15 minutes, but I think he didn't turn up for like an extra 15 minutes anyway. But it's fine. But it's how things happen. All right.
But come on, in fairness, he was sitting up ready when you went to make your cup of tea.
Yeah. So if you've got some questions for Casa Black, get them in. Get some questions in for us. We've actually got one question so far, so this is going to be a really quick live stream. But we are rounding the bell curve. We are definitely starting to come up to the end of the quiet period, which is fantastic. We've only got about a month to go. We are past the middle point, so to speak.
Well and truly over the hump. And if you haven't watched the ISC from yesterday, have a watch. It looks at Gavin Rothery's contribution to the ships he's built and contributed to. He goes through the design process. So what does it take to concept ships? And it's the same. And what he goes through, while his process might be slightly different from anyone else, the actual stages you go through are exactly the same. So, but you know that being fashionably late is good. You know, you've just got to time it just right. So yeah, but yeah, so that episode is really worthwhile watching. If you want to see an episode with very little interaction from X and I, that's an episode to watch, because we were both just... there
wasn't a lot to add to it, because it was really just appreciating someone's... Yeah. He's probably put more into the ships than anyone else. Like, he's probably done more ships single-handedly than anyone else. And that I didn't realise he'd done so many.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah.
No.
And if he kind of... I wouldn't say... I don't think you'd say they're all the best ships, but he's done, like, a mix across the board. And I was just surprised by how many there were. Like, he's clearly... Well, I reckon he's done more than anyone else. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my guess, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed.
All right, then, Algared, do you want to... Where'd you grab these first questions from?
I grabbed them from the ISC, and some of them were comments. So, for discussion as to what Disco mouthed at the end of the video, or said at the end of the video, but got blocked out. Sparkplug said, I'm definitely thinking, Disco said, Mirror Guardian. And then FN190A said, I thought he was saying IOPA. And the growl centering was the additional hint IOPA ship's growl during certain maneuvers. So, but I don't know. So,
well, I'll tell you this. I did talk about the mouth shapes, right? And he clearly makes an O mouth shape. Like, you go back and look at it. It's very articulated an O because of the way his mouth moves. And actually, based on the sound, a polar would make a lot of sense. But maybe I'm wrong there. What's the that animal's not an Apollo animal, is it? No, it's not. It's the growl. Could it be one of the Zion animals? Is what I'm trying to get out there.
Do we have any Zion animals yet?
No, but we might
created and in game.
But we might have sound effects for them. That's what I'm trying to hint.
Did anyone compare it to the Copian?
Well, that's what I thought it was that I heard, but maybe it wasn't the Copian. Maybe it was something else. So yeah, and maybe that was the clue. They used that as the clue. But I did think at the time it was really weird to use a growl to cover it. But again, they could be just using shit for us to hang ourselves. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll get some mouth reading expert in here, and they'll just be able to go, yeah, it was this. You know, the police how they use mouth reading.
I heard
anyone know
say
mouth?
Peregrine.
Yeah.
So chat's saying a few things. A couple are saying, did he mouth a whopper or a power? Or someone, Jodamo says, Pioneer, with laughter, and then Zactor says, Jodamo's likely said Boreal.
Yeah.
For Growl, solidifying that it's the Boreal Stalker.
Yeah. Well, again, you see what I mean when we talk about these sneak peeks. It's always just enough for you to hang yourself, and then there's just enough to go out in these tangents, and you can't dismiss a lot of those tangents, and that's what makes it so difficult. But we're always trying to limit stuff. The more you can limit it, but realistically limit it, that's why I always get to about 95%. You can never get that last 5 to 10%, because you just get into the weeds of, like, especially when we're getting ready for AI Algared, we always go to crazy town as we're getting organised for that shit. So especially me.
And I will say, one of the advantages of watching our ISCs on Friday is if you do have questions, even if we don't do a premiere, if you put questions in that chat and I get time, I pull them out and we deal with them in the morning. So another cheap way to get your questions to the fore is to watch our videos.
Well, I think it took us an hour and a half last week to get past them all.
That's right. Well, we've got one more.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right, go for it. What's the last one?
So Gallows Gaming said, how does this process, the process that Gavin talked about, explain the staff error?
He probably wasn't there for the staff error. Did he?
He was there for the Gladius.
He was. Oh, then he would have been there for the staff error.
Yeah, that's right. He did say Gladius.
But they never showed the staff error. So what if someone else did the staff error?
Sure.
I don't know. I guess that'll come out in time.
Well, I think that process explains the staff error in regards to the very start of the process. They start with a design brief. Yeah. So they get told, we need a ship that can refuel, that we can use at an FPS level.
Yeah.
So you start designing your ship that can do X, Y, and Z, can carry cargo and do this and do that. But it also needs to be able to be used as an FPS level. So that changes the way the designer is going to be putting little corridors and little nooks and crannies and all the rest of it in there, so you can use it for that purpose.
Yeah, and he even talked about the components and all that, like the restrictions, how he needs to get everything in. That didn't exist back then. Like they have crawl spaces in that thing, and crawl spaces don't exist anymore, because you'll remember, as I do, Algared, the Vanguard was sold with crawl spaces. It don't have any crawl spaces.
Yeah, the Vanguard's original idea was literal crawl spaces where you were lying down. At least the crawl spaces or I call them crouch spaces in the staff error, because you weren't lying down and crab crawling, you were crouched. And I think one of the reasons they got rid of the idea of the lying down crawl spaces is the fact that it was just too much problems to get AI or character.
Yeah, like I said.
To get through the geometry. Sure. So well, okay, if you don't mind them clipping through.
Yeah, because you've got more positioning problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's. I worked that out when I was crawling around the staff error, and that's what I said to you all those years ago. Yeah.
So yeah, and I 100%. I think that's the only reason we don't have those crawl spaces. And you can see that was something they thought about in design when you look at the 890 yacht, when you look at the Phoenix. You know, when you sit in those armchairs to the side and the coffee tables in front of you, and you think, that coffee table with the cards on is so far away. You'd never have a coffee table that far away from yourself. But when you stand up and start walking around, you go, that's why. So the characters and AI can actually navigate around the geometry and not get caught up.
You see it in other games too, and it's really a lot more prevalent. Like the game I'm thinking of is Darktide. So this is not going to be the best example. So what I'll explain is in Darktide, one of the characters is like an Ogryn. So imagine like a giant character, and because he's at a different scale to everyone else, the level has to be scaled to him. So he can fit through all the doors and stuff like that, but the other people have to be able to use it as well. So obviously you've got to do it so it's essentially ambidextrous, so to speak. And when it comes to things like the Banu, right? We see that in Star Citizen. They just happen to have floating chairs. Why do they have floating chairs? Because then they automatically scale to the height of the character. So if you're a human and you get in, it just works. If you're a Banu, you get in, it just works. And you'll even notice, I believe the Zion chairs hover as well. And I reckon what'll happen is it'll only ever be the human ships. If you see an alien in a human ship, where they'll have to have a special seat. And I reckon they'll probably even make it so they just manually move up and down.
Yeah. Well, you may remember way back in the day when they talked about different body shapes. And one of the reasons they talked about there being a certain size you can make the body before you actually have to start changing the geometry.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was basically why all our bodies are the same size, the same height, within.
Well, that's why it took so many years to get
the skeleton working right.
Well, the female,
getting the female one,
because it just it was all this extra work that wasn't necessary for building the game. Like they always knew they could go back and add it at another time. And that's a really great another example of showing you priority of workflow. Right? Yeah. What do they gain for going back and doing it the female at that time? Nothing, because it was like, and I don't want to say wasted, because it was eventually going to get done, but it was a cart full of horse problem. And you see that a lot. Like people go, "Why is an X ship in?" Well, what the hell does X ship add? Nothing.
Right.
We've already got cargo. Why do you need another cargo ship? What can that possibly add? Right? And it's the same thing like when we're talking about what's the next family of ships coming. right? And the one thing that people always never seem to look at, and we say this a lot, is put everything through a Squadron 42 filter, and it things pop out. Excuse me.
Yep.
I'm more and more starting to think it's going to be the Drake family. And I don't have any more evidence since Invictus. It's just that it makes so much more sense. Like, you start to look at Squadron 42 Episode 2, and again, you can only look at the ships we've got. Look at the other capital ships. What other capital ship is there besides the Kraken that we don't have?
Mm-hmm.
An Orion, a Pioneer, right? Yeah, they're great for
an Endeavour.
An Endeavour. All those, right?
Yep.
Are great for Star Citizen, but what do they give you for Squadron? Diddly shit, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
But you look at it from, well, all of a sudden it gives you a pirate or a bad ship, right?
Yeah.
And I said this to Algared. I said, if you start to think of like the ships you would have in Episode 2, right? You want to have, you probably want a mix of new stuff that you know from Star Citizen, and stuff from the first campaign. So we've had Episode 1. Now, I said to him, I theorized, what if shit hits the fan, right? Because we know that you're dealing with the bad guys in Squadron 42, but what if those bad guys come on board the fight?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you're on a Kraken, right? And what if all of a sudden we only know that, look at Drake as a ship manufacturer, the only fighter they have is the Buccaneer. Where are the other fighters from a so-called pirate manufacturer?
Yeah.
Right? And I went, well, that gives you those other ships, but it also allows you to fly some ships that are, let's just say, a little bit uncouth, right?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you're the rebel in the Star Wars story. You're not the Empire anymore. You're the rebels. You see where that's, and I can just see that as a writer. That sounds really interesting to me. Now, I'm not saying that's where they're going to go, right? I'm just getting you to open your mind and think outside the box. And I just think that could be a really interesting place to take it. You know, where what happens when the humans on backs against the wall? What do humans do? And I you know, well, you see when a human's like when he's back against the wall against other humans, but what would a human, you know, we band together when we're, you know, like the enemy of my enemy. You've heard all those sayings, right? So, what would humanity be like when it was us versus another species? And I think that's a really interesting story to tell. I don't know about you, Algared, and Casa, but
it makes me think of Babylon 5.
Okay.
Yep. Call in the pirates. Yep.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking Babylon 5 and holding the line against the against I've forgotten the lens race. And at one point they were out to wipe out humanity, and they were fighting at Sol, and it was Sheridan talks about the sky was full of a million stars, and every star was a starship.
Well, that's
being blown up.
Well, that definitely one way to band humanity together, like threaten their home planet.
Murray, that's it.
Yeah. Cassie, what were you going to say? Sorry, earlier.
Oh no, we was talking about the pirates. I could see the pirates being the third faction that joins in to help, you know, go against them. Yeah.
Yeah. Just turn just as your back is right against the wall, and the Vandal was about to wipe you out, and then some Kraken just comes out of nowhere and totally turns the tide. Like that sounds like the enemy of my enemy, and that again, you see it in TV series and movies and stuff like that, and you're like, they're stuffed, and then out of nowhere, like, the enemy turns up and saves you. You know, it's like today we're allies, but tomorrow we'll be enemies again. Like we've seen, it's a trope we've seen before. So
and it's something they could do. Like we've seen the shot with Cal Mason and the F8s turning up to a battle scene.
Yeah.
But what do they arrive on a carrier? Do they arrive on a Kraken? So again, and that's what I mean. Like you could have a few ships from this campaign from episode 1, so you know whatever the staples are, or even if you start with the F8, right, but something happens to it and it goes to shit, and all of a sudden it's not an F8, it's a modified F8. You know those ones that we've seen that came out through some of the leaks where they're or even that they did in their highlight reels, like we saw Mustangs that were merged with other things, and Cutlasses merged with other things. So it'd be a really cool way to have like a hodgepodge, or a what did Disco call it? He called it a you know, where they're like
God, I'm brain farting the term now, but they, Greeble and all that, essentially smash
all
all
the Greebles and all the
kit
stuff.
bash,
Yeah.
kit bash,
Kit bash. Yep.
yeah, where they kind of kit bash the ships together, so you could come up with some really interesting ships, and that works in a single player campaign because they're one-offs, so you could have something like that. I don't know. I'm just interested to see where episode 2 goes, and episode 3 is a lot more predictable because obviously it's got to conclude, but that middle ground there, you can go on a bit of a roller coaster, and you go to places you wouldn't expect to go. And I think that'd be interesting. And with knowing what me and Algared know about the history of Rome and stuff and how it's highly tied to that, you can see that progression, can't you, Algared? Where, the joining and then the joining and then
I can see.
Let's go off to episode 3,
Yes, I'm hoping for more Babylon 5 one day to eat Jock.
Yeah. Didn't they do a cartoon recently or something? Or
they
did do.
They have done some cartoons.
It's hard to make a show when I think there's like one cast member left or some shit. Like they're almost
one of the original. Oh, look, Zelensky's talked about redoing it and retelling the story. Not as and like I think the technology has developed so far from when he made it.
Yeah,
it was cutting edge at the time. So that was the first show that really went to town with CGI for the space battles and everything else. Up until that point, Star Trek had been still using the models, and then with Deep Space Nine, in reaction to Babylon 5, they actually started to drift into that more CGI and go to a 5-year story arc.
Yeah, I never watched Babylon 5.
Sorry, you never did? You heathen.
I never did, no, never did.
And
I watched Star Trek and I watched Battlestar, but I didn't watch that.
I'm exactly like you, Casa. I'm a Star Trek purist, and what Babylon 5 did to Star Trek is the whole reason I've never watched it.
Oh.
Them fighting words.
Yeah. Well, for those that don't know the story, I'll make it really brief. But basically, they used to do submissions for ideas for episodes or like series ideas for Star Trek, and a writer submitted one, and they ended up going when they made which one was it? It wasn't Voyager. It was the other one, wasn't it? It was the
Deep Space Nine.
Deep Space Nine.
Enterprise?
Yeah, no, it was Deep Space Nine.
Oh, Deep Space Nine.
It was set because his idea was roughly. Well, that's what Babylon 5 is. It's based around the space station. You can kind of see that similarity there, right? And so basically, because they did that, he went to Paramount and told them, right? And so Paramount and him sued the makers of Star Trek, and basically they won enough money to make the first season, right? And then ever since then, they no longer take submissions for ideas for shows. So they took a really cool idea where they how much is that? That's the opposite of what you hear today. People taking submissions from the community, like shows now hate on their communities for telling them what to do, or giving them feedback. It's complete opposite.
It's interesting because I'd actually heard it was a reverse. Someone had brought a submission to them for a suggestion which was rejected by them. Said, hey, this is a submission, an idea, they rejected it, and that person just went, hey, well, we'll do that.
No,
But either way, it doesn't. To me, it doesn't matter.
Again, go look into it, and you'll find that they used to have a pool of submissions they used to do, and his was never. I don't think they ever read his. Right? They didn't even look at it. Right? And well, it's kind of like what you and I do. We have a submission thread. Now, we don't do every submission that people put in for episode ideas, but we do read through them, and often they'll spark a conversation, and we'll go off, and we'll even say, hey, this thought or idea came from someone's suggestion. So it's not always, that's why it's there. It's to kick our brains into gear to give us thoughts on episodes.
I do know that certain things, like one of the things that changed in Babylon 5, not in Babylon 5 and DS9, as a result of Babylon 5, was they went from their standalone episode, their constant standalone episodes, where everything just resets. Hit the red button at the end of the show, everything's back to normal.
Yeah.
And as a result of Babylon's 5-year story arc, you see, I think season 2 or 3, you see, you see Star Trek and DS9 take on that story arc as well, because they saw, it works.
Yeah.
But
I think
that was a positive. I think that was
I was going to say, definitely having competition would have made both shows better. 100% agree with you on that statement.
Oh yeah.
It's just that the way they went about it was a bit of a bitch. Like to literally sue someone else to make their own TV show. That's a bit of a dick move.
The worst one was that the interference with Warner Brothers.
Yeah. Oh, that's every movie today.
So
like you hear that a lot today. Like the director had so much interference he couldn't do anything. And the best movies are where everyone, like the committee, disappears and they just let them work. You need a director that knows how to stand up to people. That, again, a director's got to direct, not just.
Well, it's like, hey, Nooblets. Yeah. So with Babylon 5, always planned as a five-year story. Warner Brothers come at the end, season 4, and say, "Oh, we're not extending it for you got season 4, we're not doing season 5." So kind of wraps everything up tight, crunches season 4 into the whole story arc, and then they come back and say, "Oh yeah, we've got season 5 now."
Yeah,
and
so
it's like,
got to go back to the original plan. Same thing happened.
Got to go and now add and.
Same thing happened to Lord of the Rings. Remember, they had it down to 2 movies, and they told them to take it back to 3.
Yep.
So yeah. I want people to do me a favor. Nooblets is wondering if he should come to CitizenCon or not, and I've been trying to tell him he needs to come to CitizenCon because we're all like him, and we're all into Star Citizen. And I can't explain it to him in any other words than we're all your peers. And it's like when you walk into the bar neighborhood and everyone you can talk to anyone because they're all into Star Citizen. So yeah, let Nooblets know, show him some love, guys, and convince him to come to CitizenCon. He's in chat there. He's in the UK. We're coming over. So I was like, if we're coming halfway across the world, surely you can walk down the road.
Right.
So
absolutely.
Show Nooblets some love and dragon kicking and screaming.
If you can go. I'd love to go.
Yeah. Well, have you been to a Bar Citizen, Casablanca? So you know what I'm talking about.
I haven't been to a Bar Citizen or a CitizenCon, so.
Don't give me that money line. Go look at his YouTube channel. See how many subscribers he's got. He's got more than morphologists. He's got money. Don't you sell it? Don't buy a spaceship. You'll be fine. Don't give me that bullshit. Don't play. That won't work with me.
Yeah.
He can make it.
He's obviously in it for the money, not the passion.
But I'd love to see you there, mate. We'll sit down and have a drink. It'd be great. I'll tell you right now, he's got more spaceships than Algared.
Wow.
So that's telling you something.
Yeah, well, I can't buy any spaceships at the moment.
Yeah, I know. But point still stands. You have a lot of ships. Anyone that's got more than you, that kind of just tells you.
So he's got 4 Krakens?
I'll just put it this way. He's got multiple accounts, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Right?
Didn't we do a Fix My Fleet?
We did 2 with him. We did 2 of his fleets.
Wow.
And he's got more than that, and I'm going to leave it at that.
And Nooblets says no, he's got more.
Oh, bullshit.
In answer to your question, Casablanca. So there you go.
Oh, there you go.
We'll see.
So, I don't know.
Yeah. Black Myth Wukong. Yeah. I'm hearing a lot of good things about that. And I'm going to be honest, I was following that game for years, and I was really interested. I got a lot of Chinese friends, right? And it's a game that we talked about a lot. And I was a lot of the reviews said it was not a Souls-like, but then it came out and I played it, and it's a Souls-like. And it turns out because the people reviewing it, apparently there's nuances between the different Souls-like, but they see Dark Souls as this and other Souls-likes like this. So it's not like this, it's like these. But I'm telling you, it's a Souls-like. And I played it for about an hour and a half, and I just realized I was not enjoying myself at all, and I returned it. Maybe I'll get it down the line when it's cheaper or whatever, but it was just, it's really difficult, right? And I play a lot of games, especially when I play a single-player game, I play for the story. When I play multiplayer games, that's what I play for competitive. I don't want that, I want to chill. Single-player games are my chill. And I couldn't chill because I was all tense and just like, you had to really, really focus. And it's all about timing. Like, if you queued up any of the buttons, it would play those attacks. So if you twitched and accidentally pressed the button twice, you were stuffed. So it's all about perfect timing and placement of when you're doing stuff. And that, again, me being bipolar, I'm the most impatient person you'll ever meet. So yeah, it just doesn't work with my my thinking.
I'm just old and slow.
Yeah. Oh, you would struggle. I can tell you
Yeah,
that now.
because I'm old and slow.
Well, not just because you're old and slow. It's just it's a very it's you know how you got those Twitch games. It's like, and when I mean like you've got to move really fast, like you got to respond really quick. That's what it's like, and you no, you couldn't do that.
Yep.
Nope. Old and slow.
It just takes time.
I don't think. Yeah, okay. You call it what you want. But I won't. What about you, Casper? Have you managed to have a look at Black Myth Wukong? Because it's breaking a lot of records.
I'm not really single player. I tried to get into single player, and I just can't. They just don't stick with me. I'm old MMO, so that's just how I am. I like a open world. I like seeing other players, even if I'm not much for groups. Sometimes I just like seeing multiple players. You know. Yeah,
I'm the same. I don't play a lot of single player games. I think the last game I played, ironically, was also Souls-like, which was Jedi Survivor. Right, and the other thing with Black Myth is there's no difficulty level, so you can't. So what I did with Jedi Survivor is I just turned it down to normal, and I think it's got like 2 difficulties above that. Black Myth Wukong don't have no difficulty level, so it's just like it's this and that's it, and you got no choice. And if they add some difficulty levels in, like a story mode, like just play it for the story, like turn the difficulty down, I think they'll sell a lot more copies too. But it also shows that it is an indie dev studio, because putting difficulty levels in would have been a nice thing to do, but they just haven't done that. So again, it's tailored a certain group of people. That's fine. And as a younger kid, I love Monkey Magic. I used to watch the shit out of that show on the afternoons here, and So when I heard that they were making one, I guarantee you, almost every person that's playing it, especially it's in an older group like us, had some ties to Monkey Magic or something like that. But yeah,
that's cool.
All right, next question. Howard.
Question 1.
Yep.
Swift Werewolf. So for Ship Showdown, since it looks like the Nursa ain't going to beat the C1 today, in other words, go out and vote. Vote for the Nursa. If you're an RSI man, go vote for the Nursa. If you like medical, go vote for the Nursa. That's just my plug. I'm anti. I'm showing my colours here, Katha, as I said earlier. You know, I'm not a Crusader fan anymore. Crusader have been bastardized.
I think I'm going to vote for the Spirit, actually.
I voted for the Spirit.
Yeah. I was on Soul Citizens yesterday with Fastcut, and he reckons that this is going to win, and he said, don't discount the meme, and I said, I think you've read the room wrong on this one, and I think that kind of shows
I think the room, I think the C1's going to win.
There's only 2 here. Like, so people reckon the Reclaim. Like, I was reading the thing yesterday. A lot of people reckon the Reclaim is going to beat the Fury, and I think if it does, the only reason is why. And I explained this yesterday on Fastcut stream as well. Is that's the Fury LX. It's not the Fury, so it won't. The skin will only work on the LX, so it won't work on the MX, and it won't work on the normal Fury. But I think a lot of people are voting because they own a Fury, but they don't realize it's only the LX version, right?
Yeah.
And they probably need to state these things more clearly. This is the only one I'm really, really interested in, though. The 600i versus the Terrapin. Well, unless you guys want to comment on the Fury versus Reclaimer, I should have let you comment on that too. Sorry, but yeah, just share your thoughts. Casa, we'll start with you. What is there any big votes here you're interested in, or as we go into the second round?
I mean, the Terrapin is one I chose. I'd like to see it get a paint job, of course. The Fury, I don't know. I'd rather see the Reclaimer get it than the Fury, so I'm not going with the Fury for that one.
Yeah.
Ultimately, though, I feel like the Lightning is going to win it all, but that's what
I think it's going to come down to the. Well, I think there's only 3 ships in contention for the last one, and that would be, and the way you can kind of tell. So let's have a look at it. Right, the very first vote you had 1 vote. Where was it? It was here earlier. 1 vote off. 3 votes off 18,000. That's the most votes of anything, right? For the Spirit. Yeah. If you go down to the F8 Lightning, what did it end up with? Oh, it did get over 18,000. So 18,279. So I haven't had a chance to check this because I've been asleep. So that's actually the most votes of anything. Right?
Yep.
So they're the top 2 contenders, and the only other one that remotely came close. There was one other ship. I think it was the 600i. I could be mistaken.
600i, yeah.
And that that's 13,000. So it's like 5,000 behind. The Terrapin was pretty high. Oh, there we go, 17,000. So yeah, it'd actually be the Terrapin. So if you're talking about
top votes,
first round. Let's have a look at the Reclaimer versus the Fury. Then that might tell us something. So 14,000 for the Reclaimer. Wait, sorry, was that the Fury? No, the Fury's got 13,000, and the Reclaimer had 14,000. So there's only 1,000 between those two. But again, if you go based on the first rounds, you can kind of tell who they're going to be already because people already came out and forced for them. So yeah, I think you're right. I think I only ever thought there was 3 in contention: Terrapin, C1, and F8. And I think you've kind of I named them in reverse order there. So there's your third, second, and first. But yeah, I think that second last round. So this the finals. I think this will be a Spirit versus F8. Yeah,
the only one I missed was the 890 jump. I thought it was going to beat the 600i, so it was...
I hoped it would beat the 600i, but
if I turn
unfortunately...
hang on, Aaron. If I turn on my own personal votes, you're going to see they're all over the place. Because I'm not voting to win. I'm just voting for what I think should be. Like, so for this...
That's what I did.
So the reason why I voted for the Hornet, right, and I said this yesterday on Soul Citizens, is that is going to be a way more common base fighter than the F8, right? And we can all earn them in game. But if you think about it, you've got a medium fighter versus a heavy fighter, and then the other one would be a light fighter, right? The medium one is going to be the most commonly used one because it scales up and down, where the other two only scale up or down, right? So the most common fighter you're ever going to see is that. So that makes a skin for that make more sense because then more people will be able to use it. And that's where my brain went, right? I don't have a horse in that race because I don't own either of them. So that's how my thought process always goes, is like, how can I influence the vote to maximize it for the most amount of people? And again, that's where I'm always going with that shit.
So what happens if the Lightning gets in the top 4 or top 2? Are they going to have to sell it?
Well, they've sold it
before.
Have to. They've sold it before, and they don't have to. And again, they didn't sell the 890 when all the others were available. They didn't sell the F8 or the Hornet again. That thing. So, no, they don't have to technically sell it, but it would be interesting. I'm going to be honest with you. I think they will offer it again, though, because the only other way to do that makes it fair is they just give everybody the skin.
Yeah.
If you can't buy the ship, well, that's a bit shit. Isn't the whole reason to motivate people to buy the ship? So either they offer it for sale, or they just give everybody the skin. And there has been a call on Reddit by a few posts now saying, why don't they just give everybody the skin? But that's what this has always been. It's always been, tell us what the most popular ships are so we can motivate you to buy them. This is all a marketing thing. They don't do all this shit for fun. They do this to make money. Anyway, Algared, is there any thoughts you want to share there on round 2?
Well, I'd love to see the Nurser get through, but unless everyone was saying we're doing the meme, which would have been, I think, the Nurser and the Fury. It's not going to get a leg up.
God, I'd say the Reclaimer's more of a meme than the Fury. So many people own those Furies, it's not funny.
Yeah. For 600i, I think people are just living on the dream of the rebuild.
Yeah.
If you look at the ship as it is at the moment, it's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I've had to hand that out a few times to people. Is like, and people like why was that rework announced? You've only got to look at it like that. And what that is to put people at ease so they don't melt their 600i. Right? They're not going to work on that for years. But that's why they talked about it. So they go, this is what we're going to do. So you just hold that little thought in your head and hold on to your ship, right? But again, we talked about this earlier today, didn't we, Algared? Like, as in the needs. What do they get by reworking the 600i? Nothing. So that is literally on the back burner. That's their plan, and that's why you saw it in concept images, and you didn't see any 3D. It was concept only. That's why you didn't see any early 3D renders or anything, because they're not working on it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything on the progress tracker or heard anything that it's being worked on. We did see them do an early work through of kind of blocked out the things they were putting in.
Yeah.
So one of them's getting a med bed. I think it's the Explorer version gets the med bed. The the rooms down in the Explorer section get, or the kind of open living area of the Explorer section gets ripped out, or the crew quarters get ripped out, and they actually give them more quarters. But things like the bar, which everyone's looking forward to, that's not going to be in the Explorer. That's in the touring version.
Yes, touring.
It really depends on which version you want. But all that said, Algared, right? It all does look better, but it's clearly a marketing thing. The whole reason they came out and talked, they did a whole ISC on this. That tells you everything you need to know.
Of course, it's marketing, and of course it's the process behind it. Because
I think they were worried people were going to melt the 600i and pick up 400i because the 400i just looks so much better. I think it was a panic response.
I wouldn't be surprised. And if you want a good luxury ship that's good for a small crew, I reckon the 400i is an awesome ship.
Citizen Ninja,
it's certainly based on what the ships are at the present, the 600i is rubbish compared to the 600 or 400, in my opinion, in terms of the look and the feel. And
so Citizen Ninja says they'll get more sales of the 600i after work. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you like what you saw in the rework and you don't own a 600i, don't run out and buy one. Maybe get a CCU, but don't run out and buy one.
You mean an upgrade?
Oh, yeah, I've got to call it upgrades now, don't I? Yeah. Thank you for the correction, because I have to get used to that, as do we all. We all got so used to CCUs, but they're upgrades now, is what they call them.
Yeah.
But so get yourself an upgrade and just sit on it, because again, that's a promise. It doesn't mean it's the same thing with the Endeavour. Like we talk about what the Endeavour could be, but that's not set in stone, and that's why we often recommend just get an upgrade, because then once you got the upgrade, you just sit on it and wait.
There are certain things we know. We know the Endeavour will grow because it's an old ship. We know that it's got the modules and what the modules can do based on what they've indicated. But other than that, there's so much we don't know.
Yeah.
But we know the price is going to increase. It's a $350 ship for the base, so you know it's going to go up.
Well, they can do anything they want. They could split the Endeavour into different ships. They could do a whole bunch of shit with that, right? There's a reason why it's so far down the line, because it's just complicated.
It's so complex and everything else, but yeah.
All right. Next question. Just Lemon says, Casa Black for FMF when? Do you need an FMF, Casa? Do you know what FMF is? It means fix my fleet. Do you want to still fix my fleet?
Yeah, because everything that I bought was before I watched you guys. Most everything I bought was before I even watched you guys, before I knew what an upgrade was. So I do need to do one at some point.
Yeah.
All right. Let's just ask a question, the most important question. Do you own an Endeavour?
Yeah, you said that already.
I have the upgrade based on what you guys said.
Okay. Do you have a Crucible?
I do not.
Just got to double check.
Yeah, I'd probably grab an upgrade for that one as well. It's worth it.
Okay.
Because as we said before, there's only 2 ships to the old metrics, and everything that applies to the Endeavour also applies to the Crucible. It's just that the Endeavour is clearly going to grow even more than the Crucible. But again, if you're into medical gameplay and stuff like that, like Algared, I'll let you speak for yourself, but you're more into the repair stuff. That's something you've talked about quite a bit.
I've always been the repair. So, in MMOs, I'm always a healer or that kind of repair guy. The Crucible, the Carrot, the Endeavour, they were 3 of the ships that really just drew me into Star Citizen. They got me hook, line, and sinker. That was the because they weren't pew pew, and they said this is not just going to be combat in your ship shooting. It's going to be this process of healing or fixing or so. For me, they work. But the Crucible is medical gameplay for ships.
Yeah. I think the other thing, Algared, is some people can't see what the gameplay is going to be like, you and I, or even at least imagine, right? And one of the things I heard recently, or I was hanging out with Gen Desperado and his guys, and they were saying one of their most hardcore combat guys, they were in doing the testing with the 2 A2s and the engineering gameplay, and he just fell obsessed with it. He's literally going from like heavy combat to heavy repair, and I think that's really funny. It was like complete opposite.
And I think sometimes people will do a gameplay and they'll fall in love with it.
Yeah.
I can look to this day. I can still remember my very first PvP encounter in Dark Age of Camelot. The party was going into the Realm vs. Realm area. I was a newbie. I was like level just big enough to. I don't even think I was officially big enough to get into the PvP area. We took on a keep, and we were taking it from a zoo, and I got rolled by Jocelyn of the zoo, and it was just like boom, and they went upstairs to take out the party. But to this day, that was an awesome evening of just running around PvP, fighting and against other players and taking keeps, blowing down walls, and yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I wax lyrical.
Yeah, I think we've got a lot to look forward to as gameplay comes in. You know, they might have got rid of the tier system and they don't talk about tier systems anymore, but that is still a really good way to look at how things are going to work. You're going to see different parts come in and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm looking for more gameplay next year once they get this foundational stuff in for. They're already talking about 1.0.
Yeah,
but I think
Gravy.
I think 1.0 is going to be a bit light on gameplay.
Yep, well, I wouldn't be surprised. But I think it'll bring in the technical stuff.
Yeah,
but then more gameplay will flow in after that.
Yep.
Monster AV has a question. It's a bit leaky, but feelings on the new Raven variant being a racer rather than EWA QED?
Entirely possible. I've heard people talk about that as well. But I keep going back to what John Cruz said on the ISC of that week, and I can go back and find it. I actually went and found it for Board Gamer because he couldn't find it, and I remembered it and linked it to him. Actually, I could go onto the Twitter and actually look at my messages. And
but he's John Cruz basically said the one the variant that people are wanting.
Yep. So this is see, I said found it, and he said legend. But this is what I found, so listen.
Later. Okay. I know we're working on a couple variants of existing ships. Yeah. I think Brand approved us to reveal that there's another...
There's another Sabre, probably the one that people thought the Firebird was going to be. It's that. That should be soon.
All right, well, that's all you need to hear. And what people were talking about that week was because the image was red, a lot of people assumed it was a QED, right? So that means the next Sabre is a QED. Now, does that mean it's 100% guaranteed? No, but that on Twitter that day because that's where they posted all the leaks. The leaks were, or not leaks, the sneak peeks were on Twitter. So putting two and two together, people on Twitter talking about a QED, it was posted on Twitter. It's not a big two dots hard to connect thing.
Yeah.
So you got to assume it's QED. Yeah.
Like I could see an warfare variant coming in down the track, but I think that's a lot closer to the actual Raven itself, because the Raven being the Inforunner, and all that kind of bends into that route as well. But yeah, they could do whatever they like. I could see them doing a racing ship. Why not? The Raven is supposed to be fast because it was, fast, safe transfer of information. So that's why it was supposedly a fast ship. It's got the data storage because, again, it was fast, safe transfer of your data because it was tied to the SSD drive. So lots of things that went with the Raven at the time. And I think a lot of people still forget some of that detail. But yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking at stuff now that they've dropped on Pipeline, and it looks like they've taken stuff out of the code. It looks like it could be a racer. So it's got, how you have like the panels at AIE or whatever, and it's got a description. They've got something akin to that, and this is the description for the Sabre Peregrine. After seeing what fans of the Sabre Raven were able to accomplish with the fighter on the racetrack, the design team at Aegis Dynamics were inspired to craft an official racing variant for the Agile ship. Enter the Saber Peregrine, streamlined and features additional thrusters and boosters. Nimble Bird is ready to fly across the finish line. And the other reason why I remember now is the Peregrine Falcon is actually the fastest flying bird in the world. So that would also explain why it's called the Peregrine and not just a normal falcon, because it's a Peregrine Falcon specifically that's the fastest. They've also got some. Actually, what I will show that I don't think is a huge leak. Let me have a look at it. Oh shit! I did it again. Is this? So these are they're the skins coming with it. And you know which one I like, Algared, already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You like the red and black.
Yeah. So yeah. But yeah,
you're red and black.
Yeah. I think it will be popular. I think it'll be fine. So but again, I don't think it's going to sell too well. If the Firebird sold how it sold, can't say this is going to sell too well. Because racing's, no offense to people that like racing, but they tend to land with all the grace of a flying pig. Because they just
look, I think it depends on the type of racing you're doing as well. Like there's some ships that will excel at the endurance stuff, and other ships that excel at the sprints.
What would probably be really good for is wormhole navigation, though. You know, if it is that fast, and again, like you've said, Algared, there are different types of races. Like the Herald's really good in a straight line, but it's not going to be really good at going around corners and stuff, right?
Right.
And so it really, like now we know those transient jump points are coming. Navigating those and saving the data and selling it, highly profitable to people that are racers. So,
well, if you look at what racing is and those short tracks are really a practice of going through jump points.
Yeah.
It's how you show your mettle of the ability to go through those tight, weird, strange areas, and that just makes sense.
So just to let you know how new that information is, that was posted less than 12 hours ago, literally less than 10 hours. So this is really new information. So obviously that came out. By the way, I can tell you right now, if you've been on the PTU, that is getting really close to a live drop, which is also probably why this was found. That again, being put in a patch like that it's telling that it's probably going to drop to live very, very soon. So yeah, when you see a leak like that, live is only a patch or two away. And I would not be surprised based on what I'm saying. I'm able to actually complete cargo missions really easily now. There was a couple of people in the chat complaining like crazy about the whole sea not docking properly, and they're going, "There's no way they're going to release this patch." And everyone else is like, "No one gives a shit about the whole sea. It's a cargo loading patch. It's got they'll put a feature in, and then the next patch it'll break. Like it's just it's really common. Like refueling as an example doesn't work well at the moment. There's a whole bunch of stuff. So they'll get around to fixing it. Don't worry. It's just it doesn't have to work right now because again, steamrolling forward to get towards a full product rather than just parts of it. But yeah. So anyway. I think we're gonna get a race. I don't know what Algared. I think I'm a bit disappointed there. I would have preferred the e-warfare. Maybe it's
you don't do both.
Man, I was gonna say maybe there's
classic.
Well, I was going to say, maybe there's a variant there and it's a racer and an not an QED. That would have been really cool to have too, but again, it's only a variant, so therefore it's can only be the one.
In Skull Apex, that's the live fire race around Grimhex asteroids, run by Amgen Racing. You keep doing it. It's not that we hate you, Katha. It's not that we hate you.
Habit. I'm just so used to hitting that same key. And I've got to reach all the way over on the stream deck to hit the other key, so apologies.
But, the Scarlet Apex is a live fire race where every ship can use distortion weapons. And if you're flying around asteroids and you get distortioned out, you go flying into an asteroid. So, Parker, there's lots of racing. You've just got to look for it.
Well, I'm trying to get a bunch of racing people from the community together and trying to get a hold of someone who's like trying to get his teeth extracted. I've been in talks with Crucian, but he's not getting back to me at the moment. I've talked to Tom Bausenhauer, he's also been on a stream here, and the only person I haven't really talked to is EchoBit, because I know we can get EchoBit pretty easily because we're both in Echo's org. So there's no point to really organise him until I have the other two. So, but after that, I was going to get them together, and I want to talk about how would medium racing work, because I'm getting a lot of people message me going, "This is not a thing. Stop talking about it." It's like it is 100% a thing.
In fact, just because chat has said long distance racing with large ships like the Fourth Zeus.
Yeah.
Thank you, Darkside Gamer, for giving that quote, because I'll now use it and we'll talk about it just to make you cheesed off. There you go.
Yeah. Well, he was saying
you
it's
don't
not
raise
a thing.
it, we won't talk about it.
Well, again, time will tell if I'm right or wrong. Look, I don't really mind in that regard, but it was like, why? What is that ship, right? And you go look at all the other recent racing ships that they've released. The thing that is really noticeable, and I'd even say it with this Peregrine, is the same. It's got extra fins on it. That seems to be the defining thing of races. They add extra fins.
Pull up that image. Pull up that image of the four. Of the four.
Oh, the one we were looking at the other day.
The one we were looking at yesterday, because you look at the foils on it. It's got it's got 300i foils at the front. It's got them at the back. It's got racing foils all over it.
Yep.
If that's not, we are super nerds. Oh, sup nerds. Sorry, not super nerds. But if that's not a racing ship, with those foils, or a long distance something, what is it? So if you zoom in on the air, so you can actually see those foils really well.
Well, I don't know if I can zoom in pretty well, but I'll put it with those three so that you can see it. But the extra fins, it's in line with the Fury and other racing variants that have dropped it. And when I say Fury, I should say Fury LX.
And you've got the classic 300i spoiler at the back, because it makes it go faster.
Well, it's actually it's got ones on the tips of the wings. It's got the spoiler at the back, like you mentioned, but it's also got these little ones either side. So there's actually 3 sets of fins, and I'm pretty sure it's also got these fuel scoop things here. Can you see that? The other variant, this one looks like it's got here, but this one's turbocharged. It's got blue in there. So they've done other little things as well. But then we had resistance to because and I'm gonna be honest, I had resistance to my own thought process when I was talking about this, because I was like, why has it got turrets on it? And then why does it have a skylight and stuff like that? And when you think it through, it's because it's like a speedboat that went between Cuba and Florida
it's a
during the drug
ship.
running, and then you start to think of like the pod racing from Star Wars and the
Tusken Raiders
attacking you and stuff like that. So you have to start to think about it's long distance. You think of all the sci-fi episodes with all the tropes of about I've got to go back and modulate the shield. So you have 3 crew members that you can rotate through. If this is a 24-hour race, there's no way one person can race for 24 hours straight.
No,
not possible.
And if it's around a track, you just pull in the pits, change your driver. But if it's going from point A to point B and it's 24 hours.
All right. Does anyone want to? I'm not to pick on Zarek, but I'm going to pick on you, Zarek. He says Inforunners, Mirai modified Freelancer as a competitor. What is the answer to that? People tell him why he's wrong. It's really obvious why you're wrong.
Yeah, because it's MISC, not Mirai.
Well, no, not only that. The yellow silhouette video.
Yep.
What's in the yellow silhouette video, Marek, that we haven't seen yet?
The one that Disco possibly mouthed.
Yeah. I'll let him reply. Our weekly topic. All right, we talked about too much if it's our weekly topic, that's for sure. But
it is our weekly topic.
But I'm going to be honest, that's this ship and the Mirai Guardian is what led me to think about medium racing. It was if I didn't have both of those, I never would have got there.
Look, I've got to be honest. I don't always want to jump on that bandwagon of the medium racing. I could see it, but looking at when we were looking at that image yesterday, And we were looking at it just because of the images of the Zeus that we'd seen, and we were looking at that sneak peek as stuff. And you said, "Oh, I don't think it's the Zeus anymore." And I said, "Well, what if it's actually the Zeus ST? Because it's different components on it." And you pulled it up and we're having a look, and as I was looking, I thought, "Oh, that's a racing spoil. That's you know." So,
Robert JT on Twitch says the Fat Fury is a Vanguard competitor. Well, technically, it's a medium-sized ship. You can work that up by taking the person and going sideways. So yes, it is Vanguard in size as well. But also, what are the two things that Miro make right now? If you look at all the ships that they either have combat or racing.
Yeah,
that's it.
You could even look at their portfolio of where MISC decided to go. They want the high performance ships that are doing racing and combat. And
do they tend to make one medium ship and that's all they make? No, they tend to make variants again. And so if you're going to make a variant under Mirai, the only other place you can go is racing. So I reckon when we get the Fat Fury, we'll get along with the Zeus ST. I reckon that's all coming at CitizenCon. They're going to drop one of the Zeuses. They're going to go, here, by the way, here's 2 racing ships. Here's the Fat Fury. Because again, if you've only got 2 ships left from the Silhouette video, the Advanced Starter that's looking more and more Crusader, and the Fat Fury, then by process of elimination, because all the starters come at AIE, and that's been consistent for like the last 5 or 6 years, you can go back and look, process of elimination means the Fat Fury's got to come at CitizenCon.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't got it, but it's very solid.
As I said, by process of elimination, it's got to come at CitizenCon.
It's very strong. Yeah. But yeah, I can't disagree with that. Like, it just makes sense. If they're bringing out if all of those ships from that video are coming out this year. Oh,
I did have that open, and I did a restart, so I forgot about that. Yeah, let's talk about this, because this is actually really cool. It's something that I predicted and then shared with you, and you agreed with me. This one. Right, hang on. I gotta go on to ye old Robert Space Industries roadmap. You'll have to bear with me for a second here. And then what we're doing is letting this load, then going to deliverables, and then we're typing in MKII. Notice something? About the 4th one down would start to give it away, and the fifth one down would give it away too. You see them? Can you not read it, Algared? Is it too small?
I can't read it. Too small.
Right, I'll zoom in for your old eyes. Here we go.
Yeah, because I'm old, you know.
All right. It might be behind my head now.
Okay, I saw Tracker, Zeus, and Ghost. So
so it's confirmed. There you go. It's confirmed the Ghost and the Tracker. That old now.
But we said that was going to be the case.
Yeah. It was really obvious. It was really obvious. So I don't feel like I guessed something that wasn't really predictable. It was really obvious. If anything. So yeah. But yeah, so it's interesting to see. Right. I think I clicked on the wrong one. Yeah. So that F7CM is November. The Tracker and that are both, look at where they're ending.
Yep.
So they're ready to go for CitizenCon.
Yep. So it's the last one?
No, that's November. Oh, you mean the last one? The Zeus? Yeah, that's the Zeus's though. So the only one that's not going to be red is the F7CM Mark II. What's the M? FCM?
That's the 2-person one.
No, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
So that's the Super Hornet, is it?
That's the Super Hornet.
Okay, so the Super Hornet won't be ready to go.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. It's actually got to be 3D remodeled. Like the whole front cab's got to be redone. So yeah, that makes sense. Well, it'll take longer. Sorry, I'm just not used to it being called the M. I'm used to the Super Hornet, so it threw me for a second. Right.
See.
Yeah.
So what I have to put up with?
Oh, what? What?
Forgetfulness.
Oh, forgetfulness. Oh God, don't make it started on that. We're here for a long time. Right. The only other one we talked about this last week though was they're actually finally redoing the website as well. I don't know if you actually have you seen. What do you think about that, Casa? Because that's a big one in my book. The rework of the website.
I didn't notice it till I saw it on you guys' show. The way they've done like the new starter ships and whatnot. I'm not necessarily. I mean, I like the new look, but not necessarily how they chose the ships or whatever. Yeah, but I haven't messed with it too much.
It'll be like I think it also points towards the release. Like,
well, yeah, definitely.
Again, for the whole process of them never really updating the website all this time, it's like, and now they're doing it. Why are they doing it now? Because they're about to.
Same thing for the launcher. The launcher as well going in. Yeah,
100%. Because they're all expecting an influx of people, and that's why.
And I think that's why you get the Mustang being put as the base ship rather than the Aurora, because the Aurora we know they're rethinking and reworking how they're doing beds. The Aurora's main function is a bed.
Yeah. So
let's not sell that as our base ship. Let's sell just a straight up fighter.
I still think them even coming out saying that the cutter sold more than anything else. Why the hell wasn't the cutter in there?
That's my voice.
No, because they leapfrogged it. They went from Mustang to here's the premium Pisces that's above that. And again, we'll all sit here and go, no, buy the Mustang, get in and try the game, and then pick the ship that you want.
Yeah.
I would have rather them give 3 options. Your base, your middle, and your premium, and put the cutter in there. And but you know why they didn't? Because everyone would go. People would generally go for the middle because it's.
No, I think they should be doing good practices and just offering the lowest level ship and say, and then teach people about the upgrades. Make the education of the upgrades a big thing, and that's what that website needs to be going forward. Not offering different packages. Salt that all off. Just here, buy the game, but you must buy a ship to attach to it. So when you buy it, you then pick your ship and attach to it. Right, and just go from there. They need to change the way that it's done, because it's never been done correctly, and they're going to lead by example.
And I think that makes sense. If you're trying to be different from everyone else, then be different from everyone else. And I think selling the base ship and saying you need a ship to get in games to get this ship, and then use upgrades to go.
Sorry, I had to laugh there. Danger UXO says, "Nah, that's what in-game chat's for." That's exactly right. But,
what ship should I buy?
Yeah.
But the problem is you got to get a ship and in-game to be in the in-game chat.
Well, I'd almost put this back to you guys, but I already know what the response is. This game never would have got where it was going without us as a community helping each other and driving and pushing. It never would have got here. And I think they really don't utilize that enough. And what I mean by that is, remember when Sandy was marketing, it was all about good faith and passion and all that, and they've gone to the more traditional. No, they need to go back to that, because that's got us where it was, and that good faith. Like, again, look, I'm going to use another example: Black Myth Wukong, right? That came out. Another reason why that succeeded so well is it's come out, and it is, you buy the game, there is a deluxe edition that adds some little extra things. That's it. There is no DLC. There's no paid in-game content. There's no expansions announced, like season battle pass bullshit. And then the contrasting opposite to that is you look at those long-running franchises like from Ubisoft, where they're dropping Assassin's Creed and it's full of micro. They literally now have things where you can pay to advance the story. Literally skipping the game. What the fuck? And this is a single player game. And again, my only critique of the whole Black Myth thing is not having a difficulty level. And when you realize it's coming from a studio of only 100 people, that is an indie studio, by the way, right? You can see why they've had to cut some corners. And then you look at the quality of the game and the graphics and all that, you got to cut corners somewhere. So eventually, I reckon with their success, they may go back and add other difficulty settings. But where the game sits right now on release day, that's how you buy good faith. It is a rarity of good quality, good game, and no microtransactions, no bullshit, I guess is what you'd call it. And you don't see that anymore. And guess what? All the games that sell really well, they copy that triple formula. The ones that go bad are the ones that are trying to milk you for every single bit of cash. And you know how you were talking about directors before and interference? That is the money people coming in and interfering with shit. And again, to bring this back to Star Citizen, the marketing people need to bring in the community a little bit and let the community help. If they went round and talked to the community, that website would be so bang on point. they would sell a shit ton.
Right,
Right?
they'd sell more.
But you know why they don't do it?
Why? What's that?
Because it goes back to the old freelancer problem.
Yeah, but
if you do this, the freelancer will be awesome. No, it doesn't work. No, do it.
No.
It'll make it awesome.
You're missing my point, Algared, right? You are correct, right? That's if you go out and just blatantly ask everyone. You don't ask everyone. You go around and you sample people, right? You put in the time to educate yourself on how that should be. Yeah.
Yeah, it takes time. And often that's probably the thing that they feel they don't have. As we said, time is our most precious commodity.
Time is money.
Time is money, and
you have but you have to put in to make money as well. So if they put some time in to not just doing what they feel is best, right? Because you know how you talk about echo chambers and stuff like that, right? If they only ever listen to their own ideas, all their ideas sound amazing. But as soon as you challenge them, this is what we do on Inforunners, right? I have a thought process and I put it to Algared, and Algared will challenge that, and you'll say, no, that's bullshit. You sound like a crazy lunatic. That's exactly why we do this. So it doesn't sound like great. If they're just all talking, again, once you are talking to other people, if that's the only... It's like me and Algared, how we're at, like this morning, before the show, right? And Algared was saying to you, notice how we can tell things about each other because we've hung out so long. It's exactly that, right? You've got to get new people to come in and challenge your ideas. So you've got to take outside influences and bring them in. And that's why me and Algared are more than happy to bring people like yourself on and talk to them. I'm not saying you're challenging us, but we will quite happily talk to people that directly disagree with us, because that's the only time we ever learn things, right?
That's right.
And it's the same thing. CIG needs to do the same thing. They need to bring some, like, the first person I would go talk to is Paul, believe it or not. Paul used to do marketing, but he's also like on the finger of every single content creator in this space. And then, you know, I don't want to put me and myself Algared up for that, but I would go talk to them if that's what they want. But they need to go talk to people, not just content creators. I don't think that's the right way to do. I'd also go just randomly select some random people, people that have brought a lot of ships, right? But I'd probably talk to people that have never even played the game before. So when they go into the website, they can see what it's like to learn. Because I've seen footage. Do you remember? Oh man, it must have been almost 10 years ago, Algared. They showed people. You know, you get people that test out websites and stuff, and there was footage of people trying to use the RSI website through the testing thing, and they have instructions. You need to be able to do this, this, and this, and this, and then you get paid. And so they had to try and they're having so much trouble navigating the website that some of them couldn't do it. You know, it was ridiculous. So I don't know. Like I can't imagine how many sales they've lost. Because let's be honest, every person I've ever talked to that has brought into this game, they've been told how to buy it. They have someone else literally that's already in the game talk them through how to buy it. I had someone that got in. Do you remember that guy that got in contact with us, and he'd never used a computer before, and it took 3 days just for him to get in contact with us, but he couldn't get in and buy a ship and download the game. And me and you had to talk him through it. Do you remember the guy I'm talking about? That was about 3 or 4 years ago.
Who, but I remember doing it.
I can't remember his name either, but that was what really opened my eyes to it. That someone had spent 3 days. Just like he was very not computer savvy, right? But 3 days just to get in contact with me and Algared, because it was easier for him to do that than buy a ship. That tells you, like, if that is not the epitome of how bad this shit can be, I don't know what is, right? And so you need to go out and talk to people to figure this out, because it's not working now, and it's not going to work if you just change all the colors and change all the graphics and it leave the structure the same. Not going to work. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
And knowing Turbot like I do, I know people that I've talked to there, and they want massive changes to it. So I think we are due for massive changes. And then we get into Spectrum, and that's where I'm going to go with that again. Like that is never going to get to where they want it to go until downvoting comes in. It's killing it.
Yeah.
So we need. That was the only thing I noticed from that post that was clearly not on there. They had all these changes for the website. You essentially read it, and it's all of the website except Spectrum. And it's like, I'm ranting.
But I think part of the idea for Spectrum is they want that to be your in-game chat.
It's never going to be that.
No, but
No one's ever going to use it. No, like people, I never go there. I know so many people that don't go there because you can't get rid of the shit. It's just there's no way to filter it out, and the only way to filter it out is like they literally like when I talked to Knight Rider, which is the head mod there, right? He literally said to me, "We don't want people piling on other people," right? But that isn't that what anonymous? Hang on. Isn't that what anonymous?
Atlas Gaming, thank you. Been playing Elite with new ships in there, catching up on ED with you guys. Thank you for that $10.
Right. Sorry, I was on a thought pattern. I just paused. Right. So, long story short, if you cannot downvote people anonymously, isn't that the most non-pile on way you can do it? And the reaction to that, you can clearly look at is people are dissatisfied with it because what's replaced the downvoting arrow is the Picard facepalm meme, and it's on every post people disagree with, but it doesn't move the things down. The 10 for the questions people ask, where it's the top 10 questions, you can't move them down. There's just so many. It's just broken everything, right? And the thing that really, I'm going to use the word disgusts me, is they're not even willing to try it.
Yeah.
If they came out and said, we're going to try it for 2 weeks, and if that goes well, we'll extend it to a month, and then just took a very short period, and then just talk about extending it. That's all they need to try. And I guarantee you, in a very short period, I would say within 6 months, that whole thing will turn around.
Yep.
The whole thing will completely flip.
They're missing engagement right now.
Thank you for that $10 super chat. Interrupting execute, priceless.
That's fine, but you can never say Algared never doesn't interrupt me, and I don't. I let him interrupt me. It's fine. It's fine. Dude's dropping wisdom. Anyway, but yeah, like we only ever talk about this stuff from passion. Like, what do we possibly gain from these changes? Quality of life changes is all they ever are.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right.
Look, and I tend to agree with you. I think we do need downvoting. I think anonymous downvoting certainly. I agree with Knight Rider's view that we don't want to be jumping on people and saying, and doing the negative comments. 100%.
Yeah. But it's had the opposite effect, though, hasn't it? Because you can't anonymously say anything. You can either facepalm. Or what you see below these is people literally screaming at them.
Yep.
Because they can't anonymously do it, they verbally do it. Or not. Yeah. You know what I mean? Not verbally, but they write and it comes off like hatred because it's frustration.
And I think, the downvoting idea, what it does, it balances out. It helps balance out the ticks. And so, you could have 50,000 ticks, but someone else gets 45,000. But if you've got the downvoting and the one with 50,000 gets 100,000 downvotes, it drops. It drops in its order, and I think that's really.
Yeah. I'll bring it up, Jock Cop.
Really the balance. And
I'm interrupting Algared. Jock Cop says today's sneak peek looks like a freelancer wing. Oh, let's have a look.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you because you interrupted me.
And I was going to say thank you, Jock Cop, for that super chat.
Right, here we go.
That's all I was going to say.
No, I want to interrupt you because you interrupted me, you son of a bitch. That's fine. It's teasing.
But you do it all the time.
I don't. We both do it. This is the whole point.
I know.
But I get hated on. Why do I? It's like you're saying something. Like it makes me feel like everything I say is not important. That's how it makes me feel.
I'm the best dressed dude here.
Okay, that is 100%. Okay, Algared.
That looks freelance. That looks.
Yeah.
Algared, I think we are getting racing variants. I think this adds fuel to the medium fire. So remember the earn your stripes comment from last week?
Yeah.
Racing stripes?
Yep. And they kind of had, didn't they have that earn your stripes and that wing was kind of different angle?
Long distance medium races. That's what I'm gonna say.
And that certainly looks like a freelance wing. I could be wrong, but
unless it's okay. Let's theorize what it could. If it's not racing, what could it be? The only other thing I can think of is freelancer rework.
Yeah, because they've earned their stripes in being in game for so long.
Or could this actually be the Mirai ship?
Thank you, Atlas Gaming, for that $10 super chat. This is for Execute's tracksuit.
What do I need a tracksuit for? I've got
so that you can become as smartly dressed as me.
Oh, so that's a vest, isn't it? Not a tracksuit. A tracksuit's like Adidas. Like, I'm wearing one. I bought two more of these yesterday to take to England.
Oh, there you go. See, he has got new tracksuit.
Well, this is new too. This is only like a month or two old, and I've got another one in a bag back there that I haven't opened, and I ordered 2 more, so I'm gonna have 4 of them. But they all look the same. Boring old me. But yeah.
Yep.
So let's theorize this through. It's either not a freelancer. Clearly, it's Miss or Mirai though. So Fat Fury or freelancer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, knowing they give us enough to hang ourselves. First question I want to ask is this, so let's do some process of elimination.
Mm-hmm.
Would we say this area, so not the wing, is the hanger floor? Based on these lines, it looks like it is. Would you guys agree with that?
Yep.
Now the other
we're
thing,
looking at it from above.
Yeah, above. Yep. The other thing I'd point out is that connection to that wing.
Yeah.
Is
like
different.
Moves in and out.
Is different from the freelancer.
Mm.
Yes.
So mid guys are saying hull B?
No.
It could be. No, it could be.
It is hull B is a MISC ship.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. I'm not ruling it out. And to be honest, if it's MISC over Mirai, 100% agree with you. But this huge fat ass freelancer looking wing, paid Lancer.
Thank you, Atlas Gaming, for that $10 super chat.
Yeah, he just said it's a MISC paid Lancer. So I think there's 3 process of elimination: hull B, Mirai, Guardian, or whatever you want to call it, Fat Fury, and a freelancer variant or freelancer rework. So that's. Is there anything outside that you guys can see, or something that we've never seen before, which is also possible?
The Endeavour.
Well, working on the Mirai ship, they could have done.
I'm being facetious at that point.
They could have done
I think you're right.
They could have done an unknown Mirai ship at the same time.
They could have.
So that could be it as well, as an onboarding task type of thing.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Rect, if you said hull B in Discord. I've got YouTube up, Twitch up. I've got the questions up in Discord. I can't see our chat in Discord. So
just trying to think of another ship that's got that curve at the back like there. My brain's going to Expanse for some reason, but I know it's not from the things that are on it. If this is this wing, though, you'd have to assume it's the back of the ship. So this would make it like and the other reason I think is if you see those joints there, it almost looks like it folds. Which makes it could be the whole B because it folds up so it can land.
Rayo says the Carrot Killer, the Odyssey.
Won't rule it out, but I'd say highly unlikely based on its sheer size. We would have heard something.
I would have expected we would have heard something if it was the Odyssey. But I could also see, given Pyro, given what was originally thought to be the lack of fuel, an Odyssey that could actually harvest fuel for itself would make sense. The fact that way back when we had Jax take the Odyssey into Pyro and lose it.
So the clue, by the way, is you're looking sharp. And my brain, knowing that was more than likely written by Disco Lando, this is going to sound, I'm connecting dots here, right? You're looking sharp, B sharp, whole B.
Yep.
He's into puns and shit like that, and that's where I think his brain's gone.
Yep. I'll be looking sharp, sharp B.
Yeah. Well, B sharp is I can't remember where the saying's from, but yeah, he would have. It's a musical note, obviously.
Yep.
But yeah. But yeah, that's where I think he's gone with that.
Riddle me this is Mr. E's comment. Yeah, it's basically,
Well,
what
do you know why he said that? It's ironically that Mr. E has said that. Do you know the old Batman line? Mr. E, Edward Nygma, the Riddler, but his name is Mr. E. Mr. E. Anyway, that was a really well written scene. If you've never seen it, I know why he's called Mr. E, but that's why he's called Mr. E, because that's a really well written scene in Batman. Anyway, I see you smiling facing because he knows what I'm talking about.
No, it's a wink. He's agreeing with you.
Yeah.
That's my understanding of the wink. So.
Yeah, so based on that clue, I'd have to say that this is the whole B. But that's only based on the clue. And the clues do tend to give a lot away, but you've got to really jump a couple of dots to get to them. Like the one last week that and other ones that we've looked at, because they've had other whole B ones. We did see whole B earlier in the year, by the way, didn't we? The grey box. So this is the I think this is the whole B, and I think
I'd say take a look too at the whole B, like pictures of it, like some concept pictures, because I just looked at one.
It's been it got reconcepted though, because it's had something to do with the landing. They had to change it,
right?
And I think, well, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that looks heavily freelancer influenced now.
Yeah.
Where before it looked more like a flying wasp. And apparently the newest one is the whole A. And I reckon what they've done law-wise is they've taken this back to the older one to justify the existence of a newer, smaller created whole A. And I think that's where they've gone. You can correct me if you think I'm wrong, but based on that texture up there, that is an older style MISC, not a newer style.
It looks older style MISC.
Yeah.
And I think, look, if you go the whole B was supposed to be, you had two ships that could land fully laden, the whole A and the whole B.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. And it used to be said the whole B could land as long as it didn't have anything on the bottom rung, from memory. Now, even if it could land with stuff on the bottom, it needed either super long landing gear or you needed a change the way the pylons were working. Ultimately changes the way the ship looks. So I can see it. Which way they go, I don't care. But because I just like the ships. But you can see the options they've got and which way they've gone. Your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a trouble pulling this one up. Castle, what about you, man? What's your thoughts on that sneak peek?
Yeah, I mean, I know they changed it from the whole B from what it was originally, but even I think the wing shape and the way it like lines up with that curved arch part of it, I think it's kind of similar still to where they changed it enough to where it's it's not quite like what it was, but it's and plus the material definitely looks like MISC versus, and it even looks like it has dimples in it, like it's
Yeah. So this is the one from last week. It says you've earned your stripes, right? So that's that one, and that also looks MISC. But I think you looking at the two, it's not a hot skip and a jump to go.
No.
That is the same ship because it's got the similar patterns and styling.
Yeah.
And again, with the whole folding thing, I think that's, again, with the way, if you think about an older version of the whole series or an older version of the whole B, making it more mechanical and foldy makes a lot of sense. To my brain, anyway. I'm going through all the emails trying to find the one from earlier this year, so this will take me a hot minute, but it's the only way I can find it. So
can I add something?
No! Yeah. Of course you can.
Hi. So,
Tell everyone who you are. Tell everyone who you are.
Oh, this is Lemming.
Yeah.
So, we just had a progress tracker update. There was no mention of the whole B anywhere on the progress tracker. That combined with the fact that we've never had a announced ship just sneak out. I think a freelancer racer is 1,000 times more likely. The freelancer finish line, or whatever they want to name it, is 1,000 times more likely than a whole B.
Well, it goes with my racing theory, so I'm not going to dismiss it. But it's definitely.
I know a lot of people.
Definitely different. Found it. God, that took forever. So this one is called Hold the Door. That's the clue. Hold the door. Whole B, hold the door. right? And yeah, and no matter which way you, so this is from the 6th, the 6th month of the year. So this is from what, like 3 months ago almost, type thing. But if you look at that door, right, and then you go look at other freelancer doors and hull A's and all that, is clearly a MISC door.
Yeah. That long hallway.
Yeah. So again, at the time we were theorizing hull B, or but this is the one thing to counteract what Lemming just said. They did a full rework of this thing, Lemming. That might be why it sneaked in, because they didn't tell us about the rework, but we were pretty sure it was getting a reconcepting.
But it would show up on the release. I'm sorry, not on the release, on the progress tracker if it was something that we knew. There's a bunch on, well, not a bunch, but there's a few on there that say unannounced.
Yeah, but if it's
unannounced.
But same thing with a new freelancer. By that logic, you know. Same thing with the Saber Pedigram and stuff like that. By that logic.
But those aren't announced.
Yeah. We'll see. I'm not going to dismiss it. Not going to dismiss it.
I mean, trust me, I want my Hall B more than anybody, but, and I know a lot of people want the ships that they've bought already. But I would 1000% not get my hopes up that this is the Hall B. Well, for example, there is nothing like this on the current freelancer, as an example. Agreed.
So if it is a freelancer, it's a variant. But we did also hear that they were working on 2 variants of I can't remember where I found it, and I'd have to go look at it again. But 2 known medium ship variants.
I believe.
And that
from memory.
That was on the monthly report.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you go back to that video where you had John Crew talking about ships were coming, they actually said we're working on several variants, of which one of them is.
That was for the Saber, though, specifically.
Yeah, they actually talked about there were other variants, and then specifically they talked about the Saber. So.
Yeah, but what we're talking about is the. You're getting off topic.
Yeah, I know.
The medium.
No,
they specifically mentioned variants of medium ships, right? So if you're talking medium ships, what medium variants would be making?
Yes.
And the only thing that really logically makes sense is that leads into what I was saying, which is the medium ship variants. Because adding,
I'm not disagreeing with that.
But you are disagreeing, and it's starting to shit me. Because you're
not disagreeing. No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I was saying.
I haven't even finished.
They talked about other variants.
Of the Saber. Got nothing to do with medium. It's a light fighter.
You didn't hear what I said. You didn't hear what I said. But go on.
Say what you're going to say. It's obviously very important to you.
No, I was saying John Crew had also talked about other variants of ships, and then they went on and talked about specifically the Saber. That was all I was saying. I was agreeing with you that they talked about other variants of ships. That was it.
That's not what he said.
No, that's what I heard, but that's okay.
I know we're working on a couple variants of existing ships.
Yeah.
I think Brand approved us to reveal that there's another
Saber, probably the one that people thought the Firebird was going to be. It's that. That should be soon, TM. Not giving dates. And then, there's some of the other recent releases will be getting some variants.
Okay.
Recent releases.
Yes. And Discord started saying there are other variants that we've got, and we've been agreed to announce work on. And then John Chris says, yes, the variant of the Raven. So other variants. That was all I was saying.
But he
came
said
from that video.
Recent releases. So what are the recent releases? And there is no recent.
Okay. All I was picking up was the variants that were being talked about. That was all.
And all I was trying to tell you, it was not relevant. Because again, there hasn't been a recent MISC or even Mirai variant, unless you're going to do a Pulse variant. That don't look like a Pulse to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's all right. We can agree to disagree.
Castle Black.
Totally fine.
Question for you.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Lemming.
So the freelancer did get a texture pass in 323 that added like the quantum drive and the shields and all of that inside the ship.
Yep, it did.
Generally, when they do that, like they did it to the Cutlass Black when the steel came out.
Yep.
So
makes sense.
That makes me. Makes me think that somebody was looking misc.
And when they were doing that, they also said that they were redoing it for Squadron 42 reasons, but I agree with you. It would also be an opportunity to do another variant. What I was trying to get at before Algared went into his spiel was that if you look at they talked about 2 variants of medium ships, and at the time, I dismissed the Freelancer because Mirai was a thing, and we know Mirai is racing now. If you were going to do racing, I just wouldn't have done a Freelancer racing variant. But again, if you bring it back to long distance, maybe it is. But having a Mirai Guardian that we know is coming, and this, I just didn't see this being a long distance racer, but maybe I'm wrong, because my money would have been on the Spirit getting a racing variant, because we know they're all about speed, and the 400i, a 450R would sell like bloody hotcakes to Origin people. So that's where I would have. But Casper, I'll put this off to you too, because me and Algared have been arguing like cats and dogs, but you've just sat there awkwardly staring at your feet the whole time. So speak up for me and tell me your thoughts.
The medium, I'm interested in the medium ship because to me it makes sense for the timing of Pyro, because you can have long distance races now. We can have them before. I mean, I guess you could have them in Stanton, but it makes more sense to cross systems. So I feel like maybe they are, because they do seem to have this little love for racing. So maybe the medium racer is a thing that's actually, they're trying to fill in a little bit and give some of the players that. I don't know if that's what this is. The stripes kind of make me kind of feel like it could be possibly. I don't know if what a medium freelancer would be a racing variant. That would, I don't know, but possibly.
Well, the only other thing I can think of, and ironically the stripes are here on the hangar floor, is caution type things. Caution, folding wings. That's the only other thing I can think of. So, it could be just a cargo ship in the Hull B. But again, the clues heavily point towards the Hull B in both the coded messages that they have there. So
that's what I feel like too.
Yeah. If you go by the coded message, you think just by things like earned your stripes, earned its stripes, it does hint to racing. Like that's what I think of. But
maybe it's 2 missed ships that just happen to look the same. Maybe one is a freelancer and one is a Hull. Again, 2 separate sneak peeks could be 2 separate ships.
Because CIG love to give us just enough to hang ourselves.
Yeah.
We also know based on the monthly reports, there's meant to be 7 new ships coming.
And Rec picks up a point. He says, earn your stripes is also a military term, and we talked about that last. I think when we talked about this last time. That was the point that was also raised, So it's racing and military, and that ties in with stuff as we were thinking, possibly Mirai. That ties in with the 2 things we know Mirai do: racing and
combat. Yeah,
combat. So, but CIG love to give us just enough to trip and have that rope fall around our neck and kill us. Yeah.
Well, I mean, also right now we are in the pre-Citizen Con drought, so oh my God, give us anything, please.
Yeah. So I'm reading a comment by Zarek again on Twitter. It says freelancers are not known as fast though. The only pushback I can give that at all is when me and Algared went through and did the medium comparison at the end of last year. The Max was really fast in a straight line because it had the extra engines.
Yeah.
So
we
if it was a collab, with Mirai, that I could see it being a racer. So that makes them. If you're ever going to get 2 companies to collab, wouldn't it be Mirai and Freelancer or Misk? They own it together,
The problem is that I see with that. I don't discount it because I think it's got water. But the only thing I discount with that is the fact that MISC actually took the razor that they built and said, no, it's no longer MISC. It's actually being developed as part of our razor.
Yeah.
Now
they made a point to distinguish the two.
If you look at the development of the Miro company though, and you say that the razor was built by that little group that was that nebulous bit that became Mirai, then you can see it just being a straight carrier, whereas a MISC Mirai collaborate on say a pre-established freelancer ship could be a different kettle of fish. So
just to respond to Merrick really quickly, we tested all of them, Merrick, and you could actually tell it's got 2 additional engines. It wasn't better at turning. In fact, the other freelancers were better at turning. It was just better in a straight line because it was faster.
Yeah.
Again, again, that's only it feels right now. After the flight rework, it's going to change again. So all you've got to go on is how they feel to fly. Like they've deliberately designed them that way. So it's their thoughts on where they're going. Again, that's all subject to change, Eric, down the line.
Yeah, that was our thoughts at the time, and we did try every ship. Yeah. And that was when we also realised, they've done a lighting path on this ship, and they've put the component boxes in, and
that's how we know everything. Lemming. That's how we know everything Lemming's saying is correct because we firsthand seen.
We actually went in there and went, there's lighting.
Because you be honest with yourself, you can pick X ship. When was the last time you looked at X ship? And I guarantee you'll all go, oh shit, I haven't looked at. There's some ships I haven't flown in 2 years. So you got to go back in and look at them because in game can be different to just quickly Googling and putting them on paper. So yeah.
Rex says, what if it's a Freelancer Mark II? I really hope it's not. I really hope they kill the Mark II idea where they bring out a new ship and say, this is a brand new ship, you can upgrade to it by spending more money.
I think that was marketing that decided to do that, and I think if they continue that trend, they're going to piss a lot of people off.
Yep.
But I would 100%. I would totally ascertain the idea of that is a freelancer work. I've got no problem with that. It definitely can use it, as can a lot of those original Kickstarter ships. I'm just wary that Lemming went to say something and then he stopped. So Lemming, is there something you want to add?
Yeah. So if you go back to that picture that you showed of the gray box inside.
This one?
Ooh.
Yeah. So what that looks like to me is a freelancer hall with all the beds stripped out of it and all of the food stuff stripped out of it and everything like that.
Wouldn't argue with that either. No. Yep.
So that also adds a little bit to the, if not a freelancer variant, something that uses the airframe of a freelancer.
But by the same acknowledgement, you could also argue that it is a whole B because it's got the same door as a whole freelancer, a whole A.
Yeah.
So I don't think we can definitively go, this is what it is. And that's again, when we start this speculation, this, you've been there for so many now.
Yeah.
Is you restrict it straight away into, you do the border and then work your way in. And that's why I said all that stuff at the start. And I said, do you guys disagree? Because I stated the obvious and then moving in. So, yeah. But no, I think we'd all agree. I would not be surprised if it's anything that we've said from today. A freelancer, a hull B, or a Miro. I could see any of those right now. Racer, combat, whatever. It's again, it's always just enough to hang yourself. So
yeah. All right.
Yep. Next question.
Cather Black. Predictions for Final Four ships for Ship Showdown.
Someone asked that.
That was by Chris. Yep.
Okay.
Obviously, the Spirit's going to win.
Yep.
Today. I like the Reclaimer, the Lightning, and then the Terrapin. That's my 4.
That's what I'd agree with on
and
those.
And what would be your top pick?
Top pick is the Lightning. Not just my pick. I just think it's the one that's going to win.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. No, that I'm just asking what your predictions were based on that. Okay.
Yeah. That's my
Parker. XGPS says in 3.24, mining outposts seem to have lost hard armistice. Approve or disapprove?
I haven't tested it. Mining outposts have lost hard armistice. That means they're making cargo hauling more risky, which is a good thing because then now they're pushing you towards escorts. That's all in preparation for the scanning and cargo dropping. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Like you doing solo runs for shitloads of money is going to be a thing of the past.
Yep.
You are going to need escorts and you're going to need other people.
Yeah.
If you want to be solo, you're doing little box deliveries. That's all you're going to be doing. And we've been saying this for years, and we've been getting pushed back like crazy, and that's fine. But you go read the documentation and all the design docs and everything they've said, and that's where it's pointing. So don't get rude awakening when it appears that way. You'll still get the the advocacy that turns up to help you once you get attacked, but we don't have different levels of security in yet. It's again, it's a cut, so you're gonna have to get escorts at the start, or you run the risk.
Do I want to be able to go mining by myself and not have to worry and be at certain points and be safe? Yeah, but on the other side, both things where you're making oodles of cash just by doing X, Y, and Z and then going. As X said, it is a thing of the past. It's not the way they want the game to be. They want the economy to be balanced, not for you to be able to do a run in X ship and make them in.
You could also
that's boring.
You could also hire an AI escort as well. Casso, you were going to say sorry?
No, I said that's just boring gameplay though. If you're just doing a mission where there's no risk and you just say, I know I can make 60,000 credits per hour. To me, that's boring. I can't just sit there and grind credits like that.
Yep. Zakti says, with a Saber Peregrine coming soon, do you think it will come with weapons, or will it be like the Fury LX and have no weapons at all?
I think it'll have some weapons, based on things like what Algared said about distortions and stuff like that. It probably, I don't know, you know how the Saber has 4 guns? It's probably only got 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm expecting, so...
Yeah, it depends on what type of... If it's a racing ship, I think it depends on what type of racing they say it for. If it's just for zippy little short tracks, it doesn't... I don't think it needs guns. But if you're looking at for doing anything above sprints, you want the weapons like, as I said earlier, Scarlet Apex is a race that's been developed by players where you can have weapons, but we put distortions on it, so it's non-lethal. So it's non-lethal combat, but it's combat.
What about you, Cassie? What's your thoughts on that one?
Minimal weapons. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have much interest in the Peregrine personally, but
Well, if it is racing, I think it's just dropped off a cliff, honestly. Like if it was going to be QED, because I didn't hear anyone talking about it on Twitter as a racer. So I find that really weird that, John Crew's comment was, what everyone was nobody was talking about that on the Twitter post. It was all QED. So I just find that really weird that he goes, what everyone else thought it was. Where did he read that? What echo chamber was he in that one? But anyway,
I didn't hear anyone talking about wanting a racing variant of the Raven. It's always been, we want the Raven.
Yeah, we want the Raven. And the closest thing to a Raven, if it's not the Raven, would be QED. EMP QED is the closest you're going to get.
In terms of the components, you could
they're
see
both in addiction, aren't they? So
you could see it being a data runner. You could see a more dedicated data runner version, because that's what the Raven is as well. But but it's not. It doesn't have the bells and whistles, which I think is what people want. They want the EMP type ability of the Raven rather than the data storage. No one remembers the data storage of a Raven.
I think
not me. I'm one of a few.
No, I remember too. But what would you give? Like if they had a racer that had data storage, then I might be able to get behind it a little bit. Because then all of a sudden it gives it. It gives it a smuggling element,
It also gives it that quick delivery of sensitive information through the wormholes to the relay station. So and I think for a lot of the larger ships, I think it's that type of delivery system is why racing becomes valuable for small, medium, large.
Yeah. I think I think that's I'm just reading what Parker said there, where he said racing isn't really a value loop, more specialized. I think that's what Algared's trying to say, and I 100% agree with him. People are not seeing the down the road mentality of racing. That's why we talk about things like the wormhole navigation and stuff like that. Go ahead, Casa.
No, I agree. I was just thinking too, scout, if you're doing speed, you're doing scouting as well. So it could maybe be a racer and a scout possibly.
Well, you see that in a lot of the variants of races. Like, look at the Razor.
Yeah.
You know, look at the Cartel Scout. Like it's got Scout in the name, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah. Algared, you want to say sorry?
No, I was wincing.
Oh, sorry.
But no, I agree. It's that whole when you look at the sprint racing and all the tight curves, that is really taking jump point running, navigating jump points, and being able to do that. And the tighter curves and the tighter a track and more dangerous a track, that parallels to those variable jump points that are really small and tight and tweezy. You can do those well. Chances are you're going to be better at doing those than someone who's used to just doing the long, slow loops. It just goes to if you're good at navigating small areas, you're going to be better at traversing jump points. And it goes across everything. You can see some mundane gameplays going into every other gameplay loop, and So, anyway, Simon Wolf. What are the pros and cons of various cities to choose as a home base for your hangar when the patch goes live? I have a Reclaimer and a Corsair.
When the patch goes live.
Yeah.
So 324. We're doing 324. I've been doing everything out of Horizon. Absolutely everything for testing. Lawville had a lot of problems with the elevators, as did ArcCorp. Microtech I just never tried because it was too far away, so I just defaultly kept going to Horizon. And Algared will tell you that's strange because I normally go to Lawville, don't I, Algared?
Yeah.
So I
still go to Lawville.
Yeah. So yeah, for me it was Horizon this patch because it just didn't have any issues.
But if we're looking at live, which assumes those problems with the hangars are gone, what are the pros of being at Lawville versus Horizon, or Horizon versus Lawville? I think that's really what the question's asking, rather than what have you found? Personal preference. I think some places will be closer to jump points. I would imagine if you're looking at being someone who's using a jump point, you'd find whichever one's is closest to the jump point, and I can't remember. But personal preference, I think what aesthetic you like best. Because we're going to have hangars that fit all of our ships, so that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There's salvage missions wherever you go. Depends what you're using your Corsair for. If you're using your Corsair and an Explorer, and you're looking for points of interest, there's points of interest on every planet. No planet's got every base or every outpost listed. So you can find them.
I just want to go back to this, Algared, because I've got a couple of people that have messaged me on Discord. So these are a couple of things about the Hull B. So this wing here at the back on the Hull B. So that's a pretty good one. That was linked by Crytex. The other one, I don't quite get what he's getting at here, other than similar stylings. But I think he's trying to point out there's a fin on the Odyssey, and there's a
small fin on the Odyssey.
Yeah, and then obviously from the sneak peek was the fin. But all that tells to me is that they're similar styling, but we could already tell that they were MISC. So that one not so great, and that was from Rao. But yeah, from Crytex here, I 100% agree. That is very freelancery, that ring there.
And if you go to that front engine...
Oh shit, I just realised I didn't bring that up for anyone to see. My bad, hang on.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. You guys all saw it, but as in Algared and Casa saw it. So that's the what Crytex linked me.
Yeah.
And
that's the part I was talking about right there.
Yeah, and that's what Rao linked me. It was just to show the fin.
But if you go back to that and you look at the front engine, there's nothing to say that little fin couldn't have been added to that front engine if I were doing that. So again, it's all of those types of things as they go through the reworks and the changes of ships.
Yeah.
Well, even things get added and
even that
taken away.
Docking collar thing's not there anymore because they don't have those anymore. That type of docking collar anyway. So yeah.
Yeah. So we know it's a MISC. We know it's MISC. I think that's the thing that we're 100% agreed on. But after that, it's
just a riot. Can you shoot me a message on Discord, man? I got something I got to link you. I can't find your name because I've got thing mode on. So shoot me a message on Discord.
Multiple screens open. So
no, it's not multiple screens. It's streamer mode. When streamer mode's turned on, it truncates all the names, and I can't find him.
That's right. So that's also annoying as well.
Yeah. There he is. Yeah. Thanks, mate. Here, look at this. That'll solve all your problems that you're talking about in thingo.
Yep. So yeah, I think in terms of starting base, it's any, many, money, mo. I think once we choose systems, that might be a different,
100%,
a different kettle of fish. But I choose Lawville because I like Lawville.
Yeah.
I hate the cold, so I don't go Microtech. I find that Microtech winds are too strong and
the like in a virtual environment, that'd be the one time you embrace the cold, get out of
right.
Yeah. I don't like my visor blocking, having to wipe it all the time because it gets condensation on it when I'm outside.
Your monocle gets stuck in it. I get it.
That's right. I know, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can't get easy access to the
top hat,
to the Uwe
the
girls.
Snow builds up on the top hat, and all of those things. Horrible.
Yeah.
Destroy says, I like it. I would like an answer from each of you. Thanks. What multi-crew ship do you guys prefer? Gameplay loop doesn't matter.
Let Casa go first.
If I had to choose, we just choosing one. I mean, I always like the Taurus as a multiplayer ship. That's one me and my wife can both jump in. It's got really good cargo. Yep. It can hold it can hold the Nursa and an STV or whatever. Yeah. It's just that's my favorite multiplayer ship. If I'm just choosing one.
Algared?
Oh, so many. Probably my favourite, I'd have to say the Carrack. That's the one I like taking out the most. But if it's just two people, I think I always default to the Hurricane. Like you've taken out I know you often like to take out the Redeemer. And one of the last times we were in the Redeemer, I said I'd rather be in the Hurricane.
Yeah, we do have a lot of fun when we go in the Hurricane.
So I think I've got to say the Hurricane is probably my two-person multi-crew ship, but I do like the Carrack. Or the 890, because the 890 is kind of the carrier at the moment. So it can do a lot of stuff. So
yeah, and I think kind of Algared is hinting at what I was going to say there too, but I was going to caveat with like what I like now is going to be completely different to what I like later. Combat is really good right now. Even if you look at things like Redeemer, I really enjoy, but the Reclaimer I enjoy a lot now too. But it's just not at the same level combat's at because we just don't have that polished gameplay. I have a lot of fun going out with John when we do mining, and even if he's in a prospector and I'm in a prospector, but also when we get in the mole, that's a lot of fun too. What I like now to the final game. Who knows? You can't tell exactly what the gameplay is going to be like until it's out. So for me now, my top two would probably be the Redeemer. Hurricane's a good choice as well. Just anything that I can get out there and do with other people, I really enjoy, and that's why I'm looking so much forward to next year. I think we're going to see a lot more gameplay coming in next year.
I think one of the things. Go on.
No, I think with 4.0 though, these are going to change. Like you're not going to see as many people with the character 890 jump, for instance, especially if it's just 2 or 3 people.
Yep.
No.
Again, the removing of armistice and stuff like that is pushing toward. Again, when we don't have the AI in yet, people are going to gather. They are going to group, and I think I think they almost want to do that to see things tested, because once it's tested, they can tell where the boundaries are and where they need to fill in the gaps with AI and stuff like that. They need us to literally be testers to work that out. And we're going to hate it. People are going to absolutely hate it because they have to have those things. Like down the road, when you've got AI to fill in the gaps, no problem. But when there's no cart for the horse, people are gonna hate it because all those people that were doing solo shit are just not gonna want to do the solo shit. That I guarantee there's gonna be a max exodus of people that go, I'm not coming back till they fix this shit. They're locked out. But all the people that love the multi crew, they'll take it all on. What I was playing, God, I can't remember days. It was sometime in the last week or so. I jumped on with Mongrel Squad and was just hanging out with them, doing a bit of. They were doing piracy, and I wasn't actually doing the piracy. I was just moving all the cargo boxes. But I had a lot of fun just working together with other people and moving the cargo. And that's a highlight in this patch that's coming up. But one of the things we talked about was I brought up how do you guys feel about the push towards escorting, and do you guys ever feel that you would legally do the piracy part, like, you know, be paid to protect people? And they're like, absolutely, you know. So piracy is not going to be just bad people. It's going to be, they're going to take the opportunity where they can get it. If that's the gameplay they're after,
What have we said about piracy for years? You know, pirates will take.
Just going to play the gameplay they want to play, man. Let them go. You know?
They'll do what they want. They'll be piracy. Piracy will use whatever ships they've got, wherever they can get it.
Yep.
But they're not going to be just one ship. It's going to be whatever ship does the job or whatever ship's available, and that's just real life. But I was going to say, when you said I wasn't doing the piracy, it's like, I wasn't. I was only the getaway driver, sir. Honest. I wasn't doing anything. I didn't rob the bank. I was just the driver.
I was just an innocent bystander moving all the boxes into the getaway car. That was me.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. I didn't even realize we're doing it. I thought we were doing it against AI because we're doing the blockade running, and then all of a sudden they attacked a real player, and then all of a sudden I went, the cargo chest went, is this a real player? And they're like, yeah. I went, oh, okay, no worries, let's get going. I didn't care. I was just like, because it wasn't me doing it, but I was participating, but yeah. But it was just
you heard it here first. Execute Griefer.
Yeah, but I was going to say, even if you look at Griefer.net, right? There's a lot of people that really hate what those guys do with events and stuff. There was a really interesting thing. I can't remember the guy's name. I think it's SFER. Yep. It stands for surfer, like a shortened version of that. And he did say something very compelling. And what he said was, in all the events that we've been attacking and stuff, that look at the positive outcome, and I have to agree, this is a pushing towards that thing. Is all the events got protection? They were countering the attacks, and in a really weird way, isn't that kind of preempting and preparing those people for what it's going to be like in the real game? Now, I'm not trying to say that's the right thing to do. I'm trying to tell you, let's take a positive out of a negative type of thing and look at what that's doing. And I think instead of it just bang and it's right there, the gradual approach is probably the better way to look at it. So there is a positive that they are providing the community, whether you agree with me or not. I'm just trying to show you a positive within a negative. So
yeah, look, I think it's right. They're trying to get people used to what's coming and what type of thing you're going to need to do, and makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, Castle Black, this one is for you. What is on your shirt? You knew it was coming.
Yeah, pretty much.
Tatooine.
You see it?
Tatooine.
Yeah.
He's showing his colours.
Yep. That, and a lot of my colors are either green or blue. So it's like one of the few shirts that won't mess with the green screens.
I like that it's sand.
He must love the beach. I hate sand. He gets sent all the worst places.
It's a sandy coloured shirt for Tatooine. I love it. Yeah. Azakti says, "Do you think we will see another another starter ship this year?"
Yes.
Yes.
Crusader.
With sneak peek of the possible Crusader ship shown at CitizenCon last year before the Zeus. Yes, the yellow.
Look, this guy's turned up late.
Curtain. It's just, but yes, we think there's a ship. Is it a Crusader ship?
It's looking more and more likely.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say it's definitively a Crusader. I think the only thing I'd say at the moment, Algared is potentially right. It could be a Zeus variant, but it's looking more and more likely it was not the Zeus in that sneak peek. So
yeah.
But again, how many? I feel like a broken record. They always give us enough to hang ourselves.
Yep.
That's what it is. They want us to debate and fight and hype, and we're doing what they want. They're playing these mind games and they're winning.
But in terms of the yellow curtain,
you know what we do? We make up our own ship and mind game them back. you know, and then we'll put all these leaks out about, you know.
So it could be a Crusader spinoff, you know, like Mirai. So this one will actually be, you know, to play more to, you know, Algared. He'll actually, you know, really like them.
Yep. But if we're talking, but we know there's a starter ship coming because we've got the orange curtain ship from last year, and so we know it's coming. We know it's most likely an advanced starter because of the size and other stuff with it. Are we going to get another absolute low-end starter? I would expect so.
Did I show you the hand-drawn image of it, Algared?
I think you did.
Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, because if it is like that hand-drawn image, man, they're going to sell a lot of them. So think Ares with a smaller gun, but then it's got like internals.
Yeah, you did show me the image. Yeah,
and wow, they're going to sell a shit ton of that thing if that's what it looks like.
If they sold an Ares that was actually a proper ground attack vehicle or ground attack craft, like the Warthog, the A10,
we did show it last stream. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
People would buy it hands down because that if I've heard people talk about wanting a Raven, I've heard people talk about wanting it for Warthog more.
Yeah.
So Destroy says, when is the carrot for sale?
It'll be IAE will be the next time.
Riddick says, do you believe the CIG need to give us more tangible content and release date, or people gonna snap?
No, they learn not to get release dates, and I think, like, going on what Lemming said earlier about we're in that really quiet period and that we're all starved for information, the whole reason we're starved is CitizenCon. They just clamp down on everything and hold on to it. I'm actually surprised with how much has actually come out about 4.0, like, which tells me they have a lot of shit to show this year. The fact that they're sitting there talking about what's coming in 4.0, that's the type of stuff they used to show up at CitizenCon. So I'm sitting here going, if that's what they're showing now, what the hell are they going to show us at CitizenCon? Like, what's coming that's so much better than what they... Because if you think of all the previous 7 years of Pyro...
Yeah.
Like, come on. like that's what we've had up until this point. So... I said to Algared, we're going to do an episode before we after we've left or before we go just before we go to CitizenCon, what we expect. And one of the things is Nyx. It's really obvious, you know. Like they've shown Pyro for 7 years. The only other obvious thing is go to the next one along.
Yeah, it's something we've both kind of looked at, and now the only thing I could think of being other than showing, and this is what's coming, and this is what's now live. But that's...
Algared, Angry PC Text on Twitter says, I snapped a long time ago. And that would explain his dangly legs.
Oh, yeah.
He broke his legs.
That would. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of I'd love to see release dates, but they're not going to do that. Unless they do it at CitizenCon. I
think we can also conclude that there's going to be Squadron 42 stuff as well as whatever's next. You can see it coming. 1.0 for Star Citizen, 4.0 for Star. Did I say that backwards? No, I said it backwards. Sorry. 1.0 for Star Citizen and 4.0. No, it's the same thing. What am I doing? It's 4.0 for Star Citizen. Man, my brain is stuffed today. But the point I'm trying to get at is I think we're going to see updates to essentially what we saw last year as well, like server meshing, right? Yeah. Where are they at with that? We know the first part of it's coming in 4.0, but what is their what's the next 6 months? Because that's essentially what they showed last year, didn't they? Like this is what we hope to have in the next 12 months. And I'm going to be honest, it's been a little bit delayed, but we did get a lot of that, like a lot of the rollover. Like one of the big things that I'm surprised we haven't gotten was the button pressing.
Yeah,
we didn't get any of that. But again, you look at priority. How that's not a priority thing. That's a nice
the game's
quality.
Working, that's quality of life, immersion stuff. It's not the game doesn't work. The game still works if I'm not seeing myself push the screen. So yeah.
All right. I've just remembered two things I want to talk about. So I'm going to talk about one of them now, and I haven't worked this out. Remember what I talked a couple of streams ago? I wanted to do a t-shirt competition to design a t-shirt. So we'll put this at the end of the episode. You trying to remember, Algared, for the episode?
Yeah.
But I wanted to go through, and we're going to give away a ship. We'll talk about it this weekend. But if you are into any form of graphics, we want to make a t-shirt that is black. And it says, a part of John's crew, right? And we're going to give these to people that work under John on the ship team, that work under John crew, so they can walk around and kind of essentially troll John crew. So whatever image you want to put on there, do you want to put John crew as Jack Sparrow or something like that? So think of the image, and the best one will win a fairly decent ship. I'll go through the ships that we've got there and work it out, but I'll try and do that before the weekend. I'll go through Algared and we'll pick one out. Sorry?
Yeah, I was reading the comments. Said wet t-shirt competition.
Wet t-shirt, you wish. Big man boobs.
Yeah, you don't want a wet t-shirt competition. Seriously, guys.
No. But yeah, so if you come up with as long as there's a couple of entries that we can go through, I'd say like a minimum of 5 entries, and you can win yourself a ship. So if you know someone that's into graphic design or whatever, it's just got to be an image that you can put on black, because I want black t-shirts, because the white ones are a pain in the ass. Other than that, I'm still working on the raffle idea. Me and Algared have gone through that a bit, and Algared's found some stuff that he can give away, and I found some stuff that I can give away. So we are getting close to doing that, and we'll try to do that before we leave as well. It's just there's a lot of moving parts at the moment, and I'm starting to unjuggle plates, which is great. I'm down to the last big thing is making this setup here that we use work off a USB stick. Make it portable, essentially, and that's the last thing I do. But big piece of work I got to do, and then everything else is just organising the pack and stuff like that. But we're getting down to the nitty gritty now. So yeah. Anything else from your end, Algared, or no?
No.
So yeah, me and Algared will go through that, and we'll try and announce that giveaway this weekend.
So they want me on a shirt with a quote, "Dressed like a grown man." I don't think I've said that.
I would have it more like dressed like a groaning man, but personally...
Yeah. Or I'd have said the best dressed man here, is I think I've said, but I certainly haven't said dressed like a grown man. That's really rude.
There's a joke there about putting on your top hat and monocle, but I just can't quite pull it out yet. I'll have to think about that one. Yeah, okay. Right, any more questions there, Algared?
Yep. Mr. E...
Yep.
Is tempering my expectations and anticipating 4.0 in PTU by end of year a pessimistic or optimistic stance to have?
Slightly off topic. I'm going into CitizenCon trying to have the lowest expectations I can.
Yep.
Because the lower your expectations, can't be disappointed.
Yeah, if you go in saying they're not going to do anything, then and they show you stuff, then you're excited. If you go in expecting the world and you get a mountain, you're peeved off, even if the mountain's awesome. So, yeah.
What about you, Casa? Do you manage your expectations, or?
I mean, I'm pretty good about it. All along, I was thinking 4.0. I would be happy with it by the end of this year. And I was saying that even last year at CitizenCon when they were saying possibly summer. I was like, no, I don't think summer. But, I've got things to do until it gets here. So I'm not in a rush. I'm just, here riding it out.
They do tend to miss dates more than they hit, but there are also others that have come sooner. I remember Object Container Streaming came early. As an example. That came, it was 3 months early.
Yeah, and I think even though they miss dates, it's never that they're saying nefariously that's what that we just do this to string them along. I think looking at the information I've seen and you see in the monthly reports and other stuff, I think there was certainly a plan for Squadron 42 to be I think launched this year. That was what they were hoping and aiming for. Do I think they're going to do that now? I don't think it's going to be launched.
I think that's kind of where I'm at. Like mine is going in expecting it's not going to. So if they do, then I'll be surprised. You know.
Yeah.
I still think we'll have a really good time at CitizenCon. At the end of the day, the main reason we're going is for the people we're going to meet. And I've heard that from so many people that have gone to these events. It's essentially a glorified larger bar Citizen. And knowing the enjoyment you and I have got at the ones that we've attended, I can only imagine it's just on a different level where, you know, I went to one locally that only had like, I think it was like 10 people, you know, and the one we went to in Sydney had, what was it, 30, 40 people.
Yep.
You know, and I had a whale of time at both of those. What's that going to be like when it's 1,000 people?
Yeah. As Mr. E says, no battle plan makes it past first contact, and that's true.
Yeah.
And you see, like I always, when we're talking game development, I always go back to that Inside Star Citizen or Star Citizen Live episode where you had Kieran Davis and Todd Pappy, was it? Talking about the development of space whales. And they were saying, let's imagine we're creating a space whale. What do you want? And the audience was telling them things and saying, righto, we'll put it all down. I said, right, okay, so based on what we've got in our staff, that's going to take us 6 months. This is going to, if we add these bits, it's going to add an extra year. And then the second they started talking about all the things like the whales with the babies and all the rest of it, you saw the audience say, oh, let's pull this back. And it's a really good episode to watch because it shows you that process of game development. And we set our goals where we think it's going to go.
The exact word that we used earlier today is prioritization.
Yeah. And the managers are showing how they prioritize and do stuff and work out. And sometimes they say, yeah, we can do it in this. And then you come back and go, yeah, we thought we could do it in this time, but it's not working. We've got this blocker and this blocker and this blocker. And so the time gets blown out. And so you always plan based on what you think from past experience, but sometimes it just doesn't go the way you wanted.
Cassie, you were going to say something before Algared?
Oh, we were talking about Squadron, and I was like, yeah, even on the roadmap, it shows the polish going well into January 2025. So I think that kind of blocks it from coming out this year.
Yep. The only thing that we can think of is it's some kind of vertical slice release, which they did talk about doing way back when. So, you know, if you were going to drum up hype for a release of Squadron, how would you do that? Release the first chapter.
Yeah.
You know, if that's your demo, oh, by the way, and then 6 months later the game's coming out, or whatever you know, the time period is, that's how you drum up hype. And one of the things Paul did talk about when he read his monthly reports, and you guys would have seen this as well, is they are focusing on, I think it was the first 5 chapters or 4 chapters of the game, that there was a whole lot of focus on polishing those specifically. Demo, you know.
The Siege of Vega as a demo.
Yeah, so something
that could be
that.
Cool.
Yeah, because then it leaves Orion completely out of it and untouched. So you're not actually, all you ever see is Vega, and then Orion is the surprise.
Yeah, cool. I'd love to do. I was always kind of hoping, we'd get to do the Siege of Vega when it was happening. Can we be involved? So that would be pretty cool. So yeah, that would get me pumped.
Yeah.
So
we'll see.
Next question.
Yeah.
Okay, Xeric Masters. A lot of Star Citizen player base make up what the game will be and get disappointed when CIG take a different direction they disagree with. Has that happened with you guys? What did you hope Star Citizen would become and CIG took a different direction?
Oh, I've always looked at it differently, and I know you have too. We've always just gone, this is Chris's vision, go where Chris wants type of thing.
Yeah.
And even he's been influenced over the years by people that work with him and allowed it to change and grow. But, you know, being a former game developer, I can only speak for myself. I don't want to put Algared's words in it, but I always knew it was never going to be what I wanted because they're making it, you know. I don't know, Algared, I'll let you speak to that.
Well, I always, when I found Star Citizen and realised, this is a Chris Roberts game, this is like Wing Commander, Privateer, and Freelancer, and those, I knew he was going to push the envelope as far as he could. Even before he said, back in the day, I couldn't do the games I wanted because the technology wasn't there. I already knew he was going to push the envelope as far as he could. I've said it numerous times. The reason we have Sound Blaster cards in our on our sound, we don't buy Sound Blaster cards to get quality sound on our computers anymore. Is basically going back to those types of games. He was the first to actually use proper cutscenes of actors in his games
to tell the story.
Yeah, to tell the story, and so you've really got, you knew that he was going to push the game. So I always took the view, this is going to be a good game. Is it going to have everything I want? No. No game ever has everything I want. Will it be a game I want to play? And I always took the view, yeah, it's going to be a game I want to play. What about you, Casa?
Oh, before Casa says, there's just something else I want to say. The other thing is there are things that both Algared and I have disagreed with. And one of the ones I'm thinking about is like how they said that you could have any name you want, and now you have to have an exclusive name. And I don't think that's the problem, because obviously there's some restriction there. Like they've not just decided to do that. There's some technical limitation or something like that. They've never told us what that technical limitation is. So for me, it always comes back to that problem that we've always had: lack of communication. Like, if there's an issue, instead of just telling us what that is, we're adults, we'll understand. We're just annoyed because we don't understand. If you don't tell us, we're just going to remain confused and frustrated.
Yeah, and just before I let you go, Casa, I also think it ties in with what this question ties in with what Space Tomato says. Every game needs to have things you love and things you hate for it to be good. And there'll be things that I like in a game that you hate, and there's things you like in a game that I hate. But together, there'll be also things that we both like, and that just makes the games awesome. Casa, your thoughts on that question?
Mine's kind of the opposite. When I first came on, which is it's been like 3 years now, I was asking about, I happened to mention in one of my videos about crafting, and people in the comments were like, there's going to be no crafting in this game, blah, blah, blah. And, you need to go play a real MMO for that. And I was like, wait a minute, I thought I'd heard about it, thought I was wrong. And then now we're hearing about crafting. And so that actually got me more excited, because I know how crafting could just bring everything together. And so that, to me, really makes this game, for me, kind of that all-in-one type of game, because it brings everything. Even people who don't even want to craft, if you're PvP, FPS, whatever you're doing ship-wise, you're going to be able to participate in crafting, whether you're selling the stuff that you stole from someone or you're selling stuff that you got from a boss or whatever. There's going to be so much that involves with this. So to me, that made the game actually better and, more of what I wanted.
Yeah, that's just an expanding of the gameplay as the game's grown.
I know people say it was never crafting, but I can remember 2014 and talking the economy, and they said you won't be able to build the whole spaceship. When I were talking crafting, they were talking about you'll be able to get this bit and this bit and this bit and be part of a production chain. That's what they were talking about originally. So there was crafting, it just wasn't as the way we normally think of crafting, and I think that's shifting a little bit.
As I said, the scope has changed.
But the scope changes.
Another simpler way to look at it, even earlier than Algared, was how the Endeavour's module modified things, right? That was the closest we were having to crafting, was this one would modify stuff.
Yep.
But now it fully will craft components and shit like that, so
but will you still be able to overclock them, which which were the big ring on the super collider on the Endeavour was basically for.
Is that?
And I think
that's what I meant by modifying. So is that still a thing? Like, is that still an addition to crafting, or is it completely changed? And again, what are we up to now? 13 years of this shit, so it's just totally changed. It's a quarter of my life. I can't believe I've been covering it for this long. So crazy.
Yeah.
All right. What are we down to now? We've got half an hour. We should get these questions. 1, 2. Yep, we're right.
Yeah, we might get there.
Right. Yep.
Might be time to turn the bot off, though, if you haven't turned the bot off.
I'll give another 15. We'll be right.
So if you're after a question, bot it, or then just start doing super chats, because that'll be the only way we'll get them. Yep. But Jock Cop says, sneak peek. That just dropped freelancer work. I think we've done that, and I think we kind of went, yep. The Real Drama says, is Algared going to be alive to play Star Citizen? Well, I hired at the moment. Will I be able to be alive to play Squadron 42? I intend to be, but God may have other ideas.
We have already lost people. It's taken that long.
Yep.
Let's just leave it that way.
Yeah, that's true. Daedalus GR says, can the hull B land with full cargo?
Yes. That was one of the reasons why it was redesigned, apparently. So yeah.
Dead Frag, Polaris racing variant. When? No interior, no guns, no torps. When do you think it happens? Probably never.
Yeah, I think a lot of the bigger ships you'll just race them as is. You know, there won't be a variant. You'll just, your Javelin would just be a Javelin.
You're racing for your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, you put your upgraded components on, or your
competition components. I think.
Your shards into it. Mr. E, $10. Awesome stream. Katha, I enjoy your work.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. E.
High praise.
So we've done that one. The Jess says, do you think they will make a racing Idris variant to complement the new Saber racing ship?
What is up with all these?
I think that's people trying to poke fun. So again, as I said, some ships won't get variants. They'll just be as is.
And I do remember seeing in the chat on YouTube, there was chat earlier saying, I want an Idris racer. Yes, I want my Idris racer now.
Algared will remind you of the times that we spent around Port Alisar racing the Starfarers and doing donuts and
bowling with Starfarers.
So much fun. I'm talking just purely racing though.
Yep. Doing the loops.
Yeah, because they just dragged like crazy. You had to really compensate to get them around those rings and stuff. We've seen people racing 890 jumps through the little tracks. They're not meant to do that. Yep. But again, it'll come. Look, it'll all come. Just give it time. Cart full of horse mentality here. Just got to give it a bit of patience.
Indeed. That's that one. Monster AV says, I mean, control surfaces to me on the whole doesn't make sense since the boxes behind them, I guess, the effectiveness.
I think that was a question to someone else, so you can just skip that one.
Yep.
The way he's replying.
Oh, yes.
No, so it doesn't have a question.
Didn't have a question. Yep. But even if you're looking at the whole B, like I could see them needing control surfaces when the ship's condensed. So I could see them having those for when it's, when it's unladen. They help it fly.
Sabont says, with all the nerfs to distortion weapons, is that because the engineering isn't in game yet? I like the old triangle of ballistics laser distortion where each has pros and cons. Honestly, I think the distortion nerf happened when they put the Idris in for that event. Because they didn't just want everyone rocking up with distortions and disabling it. They were trying to make it a little bit more difficult. But you can say I'm wrong there. That's totally fine. But that's the feeling I got because it happened right in line with where they dropped that.
Yep.
And that was my first thought. I'm just going to rock up and distort the shit out of this thing. And then when they said, oh, no, they've nerfed them, I went, oh, sons of bitches. Anyone else want to take that one?
No. I think it's just balancing. They'll work it out.
Yeah. It'll come back up again.
Everything's in flux.
Yeah. It's just the way it's game development. Next question. JB says, could the MISC ship be a straight-to-fly mini Odyssey? Last week's teaser looked like the Odyssey upper engine viewed from the bottom, but smaller. Today's is the Odyssey engine from the top.
I think both of you would agree anything is possible, but you have to, when you do speculation, restrict stuff. And so going outside the purview, you can do that if that's where you want to go, but you get into weeds. And so, again, if you restrict it, if it does have Odyssey-like things, it's more than likely something borrowed, as in similar look and stuff like that. So you get into a slippery slope there.
Well, to go over slippery, to give an example of that, when the Odyssey first came out, the very first thing I know I did was I said, that looks like the Endeavour cab.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to me, that just means, am I saying the Odyssey is the Endeavour cab? Nope. I'm just saying it looks like they've taken the design language and just slapped it on.
Mm-hmm.
And probably, quite honestly, that's where they started when they built out the
Yeah.
Odyssey. They probably brought the thing in and then chopped the cab off, the back off, and then used the cab and then manipulated the cab. Again, if you know anything about 3D modeling, they very rarely start from scratch. It's because it's quicker to modify than it is to start from scratch. Yeah. Oh yeah, look, it could be anything they want it to be, and that's what I'm trying to get at when I talk about weeds. Like, you can, if you narrow it, you are more than likely going to be in the ballpark, but you can never account for outliers, and that's the problem. That outlier is so out there, it's literally trying to do a hole in one. It's just the statistical odds are nigh impossible.
Yep. Any thoughts, Casa, before I move on?
No, I mean, I know people are desperate for the Odyssey, but a mini Odyssey, not seeing it.
Yep. Okay.
People are desperate for X ship. Like let's just be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, X ship. I want my ship and I want it now.
Yep.
Danger UXO says, that was a important question. Does it come with LTI?
That's somebody else.
If it's a first ship, yes. Mr. E.
No, don't read that one. Don't read that one. Next one.
Okay.
It's the same thing as people talking in chat. You can tell.
Yeah.
Maybe read it in your head before you read it aloud, which is what I do.
It's if I do that, then I'm not paying attention to the conversation.
Well, that's why we should be. Yeah, that's right. I'll read.
Polaris Racing variant. When? No interior. That's been done again.
That's Dead Frog. Yep. Robert TJT says, "What your thoughts on no pyro testing, like they said?" I think we already did the pyro testing, didn't we?
We've done pyro testing, and look, it made.
I think they had hinted last year that there was going to be more of the same, like we had late last year. So they were like, I think they hinted there would be more of that kind of testing throughout this year, and we haven't seen that.
I think
if they do it, they do it. If they don't, just late plans.
There's a reason.
Yeah, I think that they're probably keeping it as a holdover for a surprise or whatever. We'll see.
But I think it also comes into designs type stuff, doesn't it? Like, we're not ready.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah. Stance Security and Logistics Federation question says, do you think the Reclaimer might have a refining bay? Originally it had one, but it seems that's switched to a processing bay. And if you think about it, if you are chopping up material, you would just chop it up so it's ready to be refined or whatever like that. And I think that's what they've kind of... If you think about the advantage of refining over mining and gas collection and stuff like that, is you can take in both types of resources and then sort them. So the process takes twice as long, but you're getting two types of resources, where the Orion can only get ore and the gas collectors can only get gas collectors. So we'll see down the line. But obviously you got to have an advantage and a disadvantage to balance it out.
Yeah, I tend to think the Reclaimers will go with more of the with being able to sort the materials they get.
Well, that's that whole big room at the arse of it, isn't it? It's just like all sorting bins and shit. So
yeah.
So, Zarek Masters, why do you think CIG refused to increase soft def hit point? Because it's testing.
Yeah,
and they'll balance it.
Yeah, it'll come with time. We've still got a really low time to kill comparatively to what it will be.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yep.
All right, we've got 2 questions left and
Midgard.
23 minutes. So if you want to get some more in, please feel free.
Man.
Or we get to end early. And that's why Algared'S pissed, because I just asked for more questions and he wants to go back.
No, I'm surprised we got through them. We certainly fast tracked those last questions because they were easy ones. But Midgard had a question. They say, what is everyone's thoughts on how content creators are treating CIG with pyro delay? Example, Astropub went off on Morph. Salty Mike went off on Dev Elliott during a live stream.
So I think our stance on this is going to be the same stance we take on it every single time. People love their drama. All right? Drama makes clicks. Negativity makes clicks. Algared and I try and always be constructive criticism. I know Paul tries to be constructive as well. Space Tomato tries to be, but even though they try to be, people get naturally frustrated as well. So you'll see people we will do a negative video from time to time.
Now,
but then I think there are other content creators that have just learned negativity wins, and that's all they ever do.
So Destroy says Midgard at Midgard, all Paul did was complain about the opinions of others because his opinion is different. He didn't go off on anyone, but just gave his own views. And I think often that's what content creators do.
We also try not to name and shame people. We will just tend to say certain content creators or stuff like that, so we can. I don't believe in naming and shaming people. I think the only person we've ever that I can think of is really talked about was Morph when he was talking about the A2, but that he named and shamed himself, so it was fine to name him in that particular instance. But yeah, he's been fairly negative the last couple of years, but he's just, I think for him, he came into the game later than most of us. And was it 2018, 2017, somewhere in there? And for him, it's now getting long in the tooth. By the way, when he joined, we were already in the game as long as it had already been there. So we're twice as long as what he's already done. So, we're not in this for money. We're just in for the game. He is the. Well, I don't even consider him Star Citizen anymore because he does variety content as well. So.
Yep.
He's got advertising in his YouTube videos, type of thing. So he do what he wants to do. I'm not going to berate him for that, but I think you and I are here for different reasons, Algared. Personally.
Casa, what's your thoughts on why you think the way content creators are treating CIG over the delays?
I mean, for me personally, like my ending message is always just to keep it positive because that's just, that's the kind of person I am. Again, I've seen, negativity for clicks. That's just, it's not my style. Even if I was faking it, it's just not my thing. I also tend to not watch creators who do that unless it's just something, I really want to see. But yeah, I believe you never take it out on the devs. I've seen other content creators specifically go after like John Crew or things, and to me that's too far. You don't take it out on them because John Crew doesn't have every say so as to what happens or what So just to take it out on him, I think, or any of them is just To
add what you're saying there,
it's wrong.
It's almost like content creators need content, and they'll just do whatever they want when there's no content.
Right.
And again, it kind of comes back. Me and Algared don't need content. We just talk about the game and do what we're doing, and that's
right.
It. We learned really early on, didn't we, Algared, that and I remember the discussions about this with you. Is like we don't want to rely on CIG for content because it'll be a freaking nightmare. And it's remained true all these years later.
And it's one of the things very early on when we were on, we were talking and saying, look, I'd say I don't mind being wrong.
Yeah.
I don't care if I'm wrong. If I say my piece and I'm wrong, hey, that's great because it gives us that content, gives us that ability to test ideas and see how they go and modify where we're going. And I think over the years that's been a staple of what we do, whether we do it online, whether we do it on camera, or whether we do it behind the scenes. But that's certainly what we do. And I think it's that type of thing that makes it. But when I look at other creators, I like to try and take the view that all creators are coming from a point of passion.
I would love to hope that was so, but I know it's not the case.
No, I know that in some cases it's not. Yeah. There are some content creators that I don't like at all because I find they come across too negative or otherwise.
Yeah, and variety's the spice of life, though, too. You want different opinions. We often share that you want different opinions as well. So I'm actually glad there are people out there that we disagree with.
This channel would be boring as batshit if you and I agreed on everything 100% of the time. Yep. It'd be boring as batshit if we never argued or never disagreed.
Yep. I totally agree.
Right? It's not a good look to have, but it'd be boring as batshit, So, do I think going after CIG is a good? No, I don't think going after the developers is ever a good thing because they're just doing the best they can. And as with development, you can say, I hope the game is out, or I hope this part of the game is out next week.
Well, adding to
and
what
people will hear that and say, "Oh, it's coming out next week."
Adding to what Casa said there, like taking John Creel as an example, he's an employee too.
Yeah,
he works there. He doesn't have choice. You know, like so. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, I just don't agree with that. And yeah, attacking devs directly. No, you can attack CIG, but don't attack an individual employee. And even then, I don't agree with attacking CIG. I'm not that way inclined. But you want to do that, you go nuts.
Yep.
I'm not going to stop you.
And I think, you know, when even if you're looking at CIG and you say, oh, you said Pyro was going to be at this date. Well, yeah, they may have, but game development is like that. You know, you go 2 steps forward, 3 steps back sometimes. It's just, you know, we've seen it time and time again in games. So,
well, you and I always told you how quiet this time was going to be just before release, didn't I? I told you, I said the 2 years before
you've said
release
it dozens of times,
was going to be disgustingly quiet. And we are in that disgustingly quiet period. And,
you know, I know when you were saying it was very quiet this year, I was saying, yeah, but look at the monthly reports. The monthly reports, they're polishing. And when you went and had a look, you were then going, oh, yeah. And you're picking up bits I'd missed and saying, oh, yeah, that's polishing. Yeah, that's polishing. Yeah. And so...
And I did say to you, I've said it a couple of times now on stream, if you take out CitizenCon from last year, it's almost 2 years of quiet, you know? So, yeah, we're definitely getting to the end of the curve. Whether it's, like Casa said, like they're polishing well into 2025, they're legally obligated to get it out by the end of Q1 2025. So it's coming. It's just where is that and what announcements they're going to make at CitizenCon. So we'll have to see, but... fingers crossed.
Yep.
All right. Midgards again says, during a live stream, Salty went off on Elliot complaining, and Elliot immediately logged off Twitch. That is the appropriate way to handle someone that is difficult. I would do exactly the same thing. How do you play the game? You don't play the game. That's simple.
You know, so you just
and think about that from the point of view of Elliot. Do you think he's ever going to go hang out with him again?
Yeah, or make jokes about him on ISC.
Bite the hand that feeds.
Yep.
That's all I'm going to say. Like if Elliot was around here and we made him welcome, he's going to turn up more. It's that simple. Like if you're friendly with people, they're going to be friends to you. You act like a jackass, they're going to act like a jackass to you. Like it's just tit for tat. You can. I've said this a few times. Like you breed negativity, it's going to come back to you, and bite you in the ass. Like this is
it might be good for the short term.
Yeah, but it's not sustainable, is it, Algared? It's just
no.
Well,
I don't think so.
I'll put this to you as a school teacher. The one kid that's annoying, and he continues to be annoying, doesn't he? And the way you end up killing them, so to speak, and I shouldn't say kill, that's not the right terminology, but you kill them with kindness. That's how you turn them around. Yeah, you turn them around with kindness. You don't turn them around with negativity. Yeah. And I remember when I was in school, my mum's a school teacher as well, for those that don't know, and I just remember her telling me that there was other teachers that would just totally ignore the kids and try to, you know, they'd get frustrated and pissed off with them. But when you bring them into the fold, that's how you turn them around. Because they're rebelling because they're not included.
All right.
Yeah. So, I just... Karma's gonna look. You talk about Salty Mike there. I just think he's got bad things coming down the line. I don't know where they are. I don't wish them on him, but I just can't. Writing's on the wall for me. At some point, it's going to backfire big time.
No, I think anyone who just does the negative game, if you're doing the negative stuff to the clicks, ultimately it's gonna.
He needs to switch to constructive, doesn't he?
Oh look, I think everyone needs to be constructive, but
well,
what I get more frustrated at is content creators who do a reaction to other content creator stuff.
Well, I can tell you in the background there is a lot of other content creators that are very pissed. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. You know, because if you're just reacting all the time to someone else's stuff, you're not doing any work.
Yeah, and there's a reason why a lot of those reaction channels are put on their own channel. So I'll just tell you a bit of backstory here. This is for people that don't know the YouTube game. When you do multiple things on the same channel, if the views are not on par with other content, they will start to pay you at a different rate, right? So to give an example, I won't give names, but I know a certain content creator that switched to reaction-based content and left it on the same channel. The amount they paid him per 1,000 viewers went down, right? And so what they do is, if you have two separate channels, this one will be paid. Yeah, this one is at a lower rate, but it's a lot less work. Where this one stays at the higher rate, where you actually put in the work.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But you know, and I think I get seeing people's reaction to videos. It is something people like. So I know there are people who like our reactions to ISC. And like seeing what we think and where things are going. And I can see, you know, people, you know, you watching someone else and seeing that. But if you do that, go watch the original. Watch the original content creator. That's all I'll say to that.
I'm not going to name this by saying it, but Zarek, your comment there is the entire reason why they need to start talking to other people. Everything you've said in that mentioned comment you just sent to me. They need to start. If they don't want negativity, they need to start hanging out with people that are positive. And I wouldn't just be hanging out with one person. I'd be hanging out with people across the board, different countries, all that type of shit. Someone mentioned Keeble before. He doesn't even talk about the game. All he does, he is about 2.5k viewers. That totally floors Salty Mike, by the way. And all he does is play the game. But guess what? He's from Germany, right? So again, why don't you see devs in there from Frankfurt? Maybe they do. I don't know. Right, but the point is that's if CIG wants positive things about their game, push the positive people, ignore the negativity, and push the positivity.
And the other thing is, if devs are going there in their own time, in their free time, then leave them be.
Yeah. Well, you could ask them questions, but don't harass them. That's why he just logged off.
I mean, they could be going there, too, to see what the complaints are so they know what maybe they need to fix or adjust. You know, it's not that that's the target audience you necessarily want to listen to, but, I mean, there could be some good feedback there as well.
Yeah. Atlas Gaming says, Salty Mike and you guys are the only SC YouTubers I give dollars to.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
We're
in
always
rare,
appreciated.
What do you call that? A rare group.
We certainly appreciate every super chat, membership, Patreon support, whatever individual funds that get funneled our way. They do help significantly just to buy equipment to keep us going. So it's always appreciated. Never expected, never demanded, never required. But wow,
I think thanks covers it, Algared.
Yeah. Thanks covers it. But
right.
When we say thanks, that's what we're doing. We're saying all of that.
Mike GMD says, will we see an overdrive-like event with the F8C upgrade to the F8A? There is no F8A, is there? That's the F8A is the military variant.
The F8A is the military variant.
Never say never. At this point, I would say never say never, especially with the stuff they said they weren't going to do that they've done.
Will we see an overdrive event for the F8, the F7CM Super Hornet to the F7CM Mark II?
That's probably a better question. More realistic, I'll give you that. Yeah, another Mark II event. Yeah, Casa, what's your thoughts on that one, man?
I didn't care for the upgrade event to begin with. I didn't even participate. I participated a little bit in the beginning, but I knew I wasn't going to get the ship, so it kind of didn't hold my interest. I'm not really warship type. I'm more industrial and medical gameplay. So
it's lesson time, boys and girls. What did Casa do wrong there? He didn't get the upgrade that he could have sold for a shit ton of money. What did Uncle Execute do? He bought that out and sold it for $450.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And used it to fund other ships.
Yeah.
Now you're slapping yourself, aren't you?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. And all you had to do was 6 hours of work.
Yeah.
If you think about it, 6 hours of work is probably less than $450. But yeah.
Yeah.
All thank you for that $2 super chat with a thumbs up.
Thank you all. Appreciate it. But yeah. And $450 is cheap. They did go for more than that, by the way.
Yep.
They are now so when I sold it was right when they first came out. They are now worth more than that because you can't get them anymore.
Yeah.
So they've gone up.
Walter Hack, do you guys think we will have a new ship with 3.24 going live?
Yeah, the Pentagram.
Peregrine.
Yeah. Peregrine Racer by the sound of it.
Yep. If you want to see more about that specifically, it's on SC. What do they call it? Pipeline. They call it now. So yeah.
Yep.
If you want more, if you want to go leak it for yourself, it's on Pipeline. Yep.
Zarek Masters, did you see Morph's video on what hangars could be once they're redesigned?
Yes, I did, but we already knew all that shit. That's old news.
Yep.
Like, how many times have we walked around stream with you guys in the hangars and told you about all the shit you can see that's coming? That video was like 2 years behind what me and Algared talked about.
Or talked about when we even talked about, they're just doing soft land hangars, and we can see, there's going to be Revel and York, and there's going to be a site, the asteroid hangar, and we talked about them coming, and then what do we see? And when you went in, you said, they've now got this hangar. I can't remember
even little breakout rooms off to the side, like a little bar or something like that. You can just see all the little, like, you remember when they had the up the top where you used to take the elevator up the top and you could overlook. That's all going to be stuff that you can customize and add to your hangars down the road. Like, there's just so much more coming. Everything I saw that he did was just so narrow. Like he didn't go further beyond. I'm like, you didn't go back and look at the old hangars and go, like, you know,
where
the drinking bar, all those things, all those rooms. Like, there's none of that, and he never even talked about any of that stuff. And I just found it very narrow. But hey, getting the word out, awesome. But for me,
even the idea of a catwalk. Why? Because Chris knew that people like to look at their ships from different angles, so that's why the catwalks were in the old hangars.
Not to mention combat and all that. If you wanted to ever bring that in there,
No, you're 100%
right.
So,
I agree with you on that one. Yeah.
All right, Rayo, do you think CIG doesn't purposely release upgrades in the $40 to $100 range? The cheapest ship I've seen with upgrades is the Hawk.
Cheapest ship with upgrades? What does he mean by upgrades?
Well, I think selling the upgrade from ship to ship. So.
Well, that's not correct, because there was ones for $5 from the Fury to the Fury LX. So that's not true.
Yeah, they do cheap ships.
Or does he mean discounted Warborn upgrades? Is that what he's talking about?
Possibly.
Yeah, because I haven't seen any of those. Not recently.
I think
probably because the savings are so small.
Hawk was at $90. I'm trying to think of the smallest one I've ever seen. There was one from a $70 one from a Pisces.
And Rayo says yes, that's what they're talking about.
Okay, yeah, I'd have to go back and look to find you the cheapest one, but yeah, you are right. They do tend to start a little bit higher up. But I'm just trying to think of which ones they've done. Ballista had one, didn't it? And that was $80. Not the Ballista. No, not the Ballista. The Spartan. My bad. Sorry, the Spartan had one. That was $80. So,
yep.
Yeah, I think I got that one.
All right, don't look at Twitch. Captain Flannel just arrived. Don't look at him. Don't look at Algared. Don't look. I saw you look at him.
I'm not looking. I'm not looking.
He's looking for attention. Don't look at him.
I don't. I have this image of
doing this right now.
A flannel just wrapped around the town, and just no.
Yeah.
It was just too much. Yeah. Anyway, so Rayo, that's done.
All right, we've got
Carlos.
2 to go. All right, I'll cut the ball off here.
Carlos R72 says, "Is there a bar citizen on Friday before CitizenCon in Manchester?"
I imagine
don't know, so. Will be there.
Yeah, well, me and Ari are going to be on there on the Wednesday, so we're there like 2 days early. But me and John and I both applied to go for volunteers, and we know they're going to be setting up on the Monday. That's like a whole week before. So me and John we're talking about going up and back, maybe even a couple of times before you and I get. So if we wanted to go up Monday, Tuesday, we could go up and back a couple of times because it's only 2 hours from his place. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm happy to go out there and hang out and see what happens. But it allows us to test up the internet connection stuff too as well. So I've got no problem with that. Like doing a few tests because that's just going to let me know what we're going to do. You know, so I assume that's what you and I would be doing Wednesday. Anyway.
Yeah. And if we do it, and if there's anything on, and even if it's not a bastard on Friday, we're going to be there in Manchester.
We will make one.
We will be there on the Thursday as well. Yeah. So,
and Algared will go 1, 2, 3, floor.
No, 1, 2, 3, sleep. Yeah.
No, 1, 2, 3, floor. You hit the floor from being drunk. Floor and 4, floor.
Yeah, I know you. I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing.
Don't change the old joke because it's good. They're the best ones. Anyway. All right, what are you going to be doing for CitizenCon, Casa? What's your plans? Are you just going to sit and view it at home, or are you going to stream it?
Yeah, I sit and view it at home. I don't stream it. I usually watch the official channel too. I did watch Space Tomato. Started watching him last year, but he was having connection issues then. Or no, he was there last year. The year before that, he was having connection issues, so I just switched to official.
Well, what we normally do is we only talk between the panels. We don't talk on the panels. And because that means we can watch them, then we can talk about them as well. And we found that a lot of people appreciated that because then they get some insight in between, like it fills in the gaps for them. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, but also they can listen to the official stuff through watching us as well. So that we found that's the best way to do it.
Because we hate someone talking over. We're trying to listen to it and someone's going,
same.
There's nothing anyone besides the CIG employee that's talking on that stage that could possibly say something that's more, no matter what the content creator is.
Yeah.
They do not have the insight.
I'm sorry, you are not as important as CIG employee at this point. Shut up.
Yeah. Pretty much. That's in a nutshell. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, last question. Jock Cop says, refining in 4.0 or sometimes before 1.0, they have shown a lot of work on it recently with a surprising number of ships in game already with refinery. Wait, they have shown a lot of it work recently. Where? I haven't seen anything in refinery. Am I blind?
So what he's talking about, I think, with the refinery is that last year on the roadmap, there was some stuff for a few months in refinery, but they dropped it. They haven't done anything since like October to December of last year.
Yeah, I've noticed that across the board with a lot of gameplay, like the bounty hunting, the medical, and if you want to call refining, I'll chuck that in there as well. But they all seem to have dropped back because as they moved over to the multiplayer, they realized there was a lot of functional shit they had to go in before they could put that on top. And that's what that show... I still keep going back to that show we did at the start of the year with Space Tomato because it totally changed my perspective on what this year was going to be. The foundation of Squadron 42, they started out and built off that. This year was the foundation of Star Citizen, putting in the cargo, the scanning, and all the other little things that cross-pollinate. You know how cargo goes across all gameplays? It's that type of thing. They're doing doing all the broad stroke ones. Was that who's going to bed?
He said, let Algared go to bed, you animals.
I just got up.
Go to bed. Go to bed. It's 9 a.m. in the morning.
Man, Mr. E swallowed he believed what I was saying when I said go back to bed.
But Mr. E, thank you that you're going to be watching through this channel. So thank you.
Well, I hope we get it all working. We've got about 3 or 4 different plans, fallbacks and stuff like that. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, we're gonna have to test the water. We're still flying a little bit by the seat of our pants, especially when it comes to the internet connection. I'm trying to get that sorted, but we'll see how it goes. So
sorry that broke your train of thought on the refining and the changes to in 4.0 and 1.
Right, well I think that's kind of it for today anyway, Algared, unless Casso's got anything he wants to add. No,
I'm good.
Where can people find you on the internet, interwebs, Mr. Casablack?
You will see me on Twitter where I talk all the time, probably too much. And then, of course, I put out videos. I just put out one today that does cover 18 things left off of the roadmap that have been dropped, which was part of that refinery. So that's why it was fresh in my head there.
Okay, cool. I'm looking for someone to raid. Just give me a memento on Twitch. I'm just trying to see if it's. Well, we talked about Kerbal. He's actually streaming right now.
Yep.
I've actually dropped in there, like as someone that doesn't speak German. What was that?
On Twitch, Sandgroper said on Twitch, maybe Algared's turning into a vampire and needs to sleep and go back to his crypt.
Yeah. Didn't you don't sleep in a crypt? I sleep in a crypt. Who doesn't sleep in a crypt? Come on.
Yep. Stanton Security and Logistics, thank you for that $10 super chat. I love you guys, and we love you back.
Yeah, I think that
awesome.
I'm gonna be honest. That's the thing I'm looking most to about going to SysCon is meeting people.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, like it sounds like a cliche, but it's the coolest thing. Like, well, you guys see our face ugly mugs every week, right?
Yeah.
We don't see yours ever, so it's really cool.
Yeah, people go and say, "Hey, Al."
Yeah,
hi.
you read. If you really want us to know who you are, by the way, have your you don't have to have your name, but if you have your like online name, boy, because I can just go, I know that motherfucker.
You're Chris.
Yeah,
you're
so,
the Zurich Masters, right?
So have a name tag of your, and I think that's the one thing they don't do at SysCon that they should is get people to put their online name on their on a name tag. That's something like it's what they do at the bar scissors and makes the biggest difference.
Yeah.
The only person I'm seeing is Yo-Yo Meg. So I think we're gonna raid Yo-Yo.
We're gonna raid Yogo Meg.
Yogo. I'm gonna tell you said that.
Yogo.
It's Yo-Yo Meg.
Yeah, that's what I thought I said.
No, you said Yogo like yogurt.
Right.
Yogurt Meg is what you just called it,
fine.
essentially. Yo-Yo Meg. All right then. All right, that's getting a couple of seconds to check that out. Yeah, it's really weird.
And say goodbye to Twitch.
All right, so Twitch, say goodbye to YouTube.
Bye, guys.
Have a good week. Bye.
Poof.
Say goodbye,
And they're gone.
Casa. They're gone. No, they're gone now.
They're gone.
Yeah. All right. With that, then on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and thank you everyone that went extra mile on Patreon at the end of the video. With that, then he's been Casa Black. He's been Algared.
He's been Execute, and he's been Casa Black, and we're out of here.
Say goodbye, Casa. See you, citizens.
Later, guys.